sat underneath your pillow, something that you think you need to have. Silent innocence can be stolen. Is that what makes you feel like a man? How do we get so socially degressed that we think else is okay? Take another life and all its happiness. We can find another way. Keep your money in your pocket. Yeah, teach children how to use their minds. So the reward is grander when it comes from your heart. Something better in yourself you'll find. Kids are killing kids in catastrophic numbers. We can't stand idly by. Feeling sad about what you read is not enough. Take a good look. Another child has died. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Yeah. Another child's died. Another child's died. Morals have lapsed. No, the family pride is gone. Nowhere left but the streets to turn. Children making their way. Oh no, the perfect fuel for hatred to burn. It's ideal, man.
Hello, my little rockers. Pissing me off.
What the hell are you doing, Corbin? My mom said if you want to become a lesbian, you have to lick carpet.
This is Uncle Stewie again with a very special announcement. Pissing me off.
That rocks.
Get over it, guys, okay? Get over it.
I agree with you 100%.
Now that we've dimmed the lights in the studio just a little bit, do you
does
think
that
that
mean
you could
that-
calm down?
It's time for the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem with Linda and Darren.
Singing is the lowest form of communication.
Homer, you sing all the time.
No, I don't. I hate to rhyme.
You like musicals, don't you, Dad?
No, I don't. I think they're bad. They're fake and phony and totally wrong.
Wake up, Dad. You're singing a song.
I wouldn't. I couldn't. I hate that stuff.
Now, Homer, listen. I've had enough. In our family videos, we have plainly seen you're a singing, dancing, entertainment machine.
Woohoo! Yay! We're back. Sophomore show here. Hi, Linda.
Well, hey there, Dag. Anybody who really knows us, no, I don't call you that, but...
Right. Right. It's always Darren. Anyway, wow, we got, this is our sophomore show here in the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem, and we've got a lot of stuff to get to today, and it seems like there's not enough time to get to it, but today we got Toshi Azeda live in the studio, which we're very excited about. He's one of my favorite guitar players in the world. We've known Toshi a long time. He's got a lot of neat stuff going on. We're going to play some music by Toshi. We're going to talk to Toshi. It's going to be a lot of fun. Man, what a week, huh?
Yeah.
It's been a shitty week.
Yeah.
With everything that happened in Las Vegas and losing Tom Petty and Jesus.
Yeah, not a great week
It's
for a lot of people. But
no, it's been a very depressing week actually. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
well, I was going to say on the positive side, it's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day outside. That's a very that's a very
Count
good
your
thing.
blessings.
Right. Could be much worse. You know, with this Tom Petty thing and everything that happened in Las Vegas, you know, Jason Aldean was on stage.
Yeah.
And he was on Saturday Night Live this Saturday, and he did a really cool rendition of Tom Petty's Great Wide Open. So I thought I'd play it for us today, kind of get us rolling here.
All right. That sounds good.
Yeah,
Because I missed it.
yeah, it's a real cool. It's a real cool version of it. I mean, he just, I love Jason Aldean, so he's awesome. So let's go ahead and let's get this ball rolling here. We'll play a little Jason Aldean, and we'll get right back here at you. Give me just a second. There you go.
Well, I won't back down. Oh, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground. I won't be turned around. And I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I'll stand my ground, and I won't back down. Well, I know what's right. Yeah, I got just one life. In a world that keeps on pushing me around, gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. I'll stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. I'll stand my ground. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. I'll stand my ground, and I won't back down. Oh, we won't back down. Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
That was a great rendition, and I'm going to miss Tom Petty very, very much.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
It was. You know who I've gotten, I'm really excited about too, and I've been doing a lot of listening to is Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
She's really come into her own in a very, very big way. And I pulled up some music. I thought that song, which is really a big hit, "Party in the USA."
Yeah.
I thought we'd play that today too, because that's it's really powerful. And I heard her do it on another radio show, and I'm like, oh my God. But listening to her talk, and she actually seems like a pretty normal person. She doesn't seem like, screwed up. Like,
Well, not every celebrity's child grows up to be a knucklehead.
No, that's probably that's probably true. Well,
Though there's a
that's-
high incidence of that, I think.
We had our daughter turned 30. That sucks because that
Happy
means
birthday, Amanda.
that means she's
We love
really
you.
old. You're really old. I'm still only 29.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I look 29, don't I? If you were looking
I
at
was
this
going to
camera.
say something about your emotional maturity, but
Go ahead. What were you going to say about my emotional maturity?
I was pegging you a little younger than that.
Oh, that
But-
might be true. I think people see a lot of people. I have a lot of friends, and since Linda and I live apart, so we've been together 24 years, but we don't live together because she's all the way up in Barrington and I'm out in Oswego. So we see each other on the weekends. It's kind of like a like a custody thing.
It's kind of like dating.
It's kind of like dating, yeah. It's pretty cool. And it's a great way to stay together for 24 years is to really not have to
Deal with each other
spend
every
any
single
time
day.
together every day. What was the point I was just going to
I
make?
don't know. You
God,
were
why
talking
did-
about Miley Cyrus.
I don't know how the hell I keep getting off track sometimes. I had a valid point I was going to make today. Well, I can't remember what
Let
the
us
hell
know
it was.
when you think of it.
Oh, well, anyway, we'll go on. But today we're going to, as the show evolves here, we're trying out new things throughout the week, and we're looking at a lot of different things that we'd like to be able to do. And we want to be able to take the show on the road. We're testing the waters here, really trying to get a feel for what people think of the music that we're playing, some of the new artists that we're going to be having on in future shows, and new music that we're kind of discovering, which is really kind of cool. I know you're not a huge fan of bluegrass, but I found this band that is absolutely killer, and they do this version of bluegrass they call thrash grass, and they actually have a new album out called Thrash Grass.
Okay.
And they're called I keep forgetting their name. They're called the give me 1 second here, I'll find them.
This is
Native
we're taking
Howl.
notes before a show.
Yeah,
comes in
I know,
handy.
but you know me. I don't like taking notes. I'm a shoot from the hip kind of guy. I always was when we did this before.
Yeah. Well,
But
we did have some planning.
we had some. We also had a lot more help. We had
Yeah.
2 producers,
Right.
and we don't have that now.
Yeah.
But not yet. Give us a little bit of time here, and let's make sure we can. This thing's got some legs, and if it's got some legs, we'll go from there and make those other things happen for everybody. But this band, Native Howl, they really do this. They're really amazing. So we're going to play some of that today. We're going to talk about some of the local bands. I'm going to play some Ara today too.
Great.
Ara is one of the best, and has been for the last 25 years. One of the best cover bands in Chicago that fill up rooms all the time. And we got them playing over at Mike and Denise's in Aurora on December 30th. So as a little promo for that event, and then, of course, to toot my brother's horn, we're going to play some Ara. We're going to play some Ara, some Seventh Heaven, some Veilside. We've got all kinds of music here. So, is there anything before we go into a little commercial spot, or not a commercial spot, a song that you would like to add to this so far?
No, let her rip.
Jesus, God, you're gonna be freaking impossible, aren't you? You got to make everything so difficult on me. Well, listen, let's play this Thrash Grass because this is Native Howl. This band is really, really good. So let's hit it.
If you don't run, boy, you better crawl. And if you don't crawl, boy, you better hide. mercy for people far and wide. Well, if you don't run, oh, you better crawl. And if you don't crawl, oh, you better hide. Because these horsemen ride with a pistol on each side, with heads like thunder, they'll rob you of your pride. We'll have no mercy for people far and wide. The horsemen ride with a pistol on each side, with heads like thunder, we'll rob you of your pride. We'll have no mercy for people far and wide.
Hello again, everybody. You're listening to the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem, and Dag Nabit spelled backwards is Gad Tibban or something like that. I don't. Is this gonna be on the air?
You're always playing with your mic. Little Harry Carey.
Right.
Speaking of the Cubs.
And before that.
Man, it was a brutal game last night. Looked like they were really going to make something happen, and then just kind of things went to hell in a handbasket.
It ain't over yet.
It's not.
We're showing our team colors here.
We are. We are. Can you tell who our favorite baseball team is?
Wait.
Oh, boy.
That was so cute last night, you and Mandy and Ruth all in the same Bryant jersey.
We didn't plan that.
I
You would have
know.
thought. You would have thought me and Ruth would have called each other and said, "Hey, wear your Bryant jersey."
So we go to our daughter's 30th birthday party, and Dag's wearing his Bryant jersey, and Mandy, our daughter, she's actually my stepdaughter, so her mom is there too. Ruth shows up in the exact same jersey Darren's wearing.
We look good, matching. It was beautiful.
It was.
But there was. I got to tell you, I said I wasn't going to do a lot of political stuff on the show here, but sometimes it's hard to get away from. There's a lot of people talking about this nonsense that happened, and it's just ridiculous what happened in Las Vegas. A lot of people talking about gun control, and I'm for the Second Amendment. Everybody knows that I'm an independent, and I believe in your right to bear arms. I think it's important that you do, whether you're protecting yourself from the tyranny of our government or some other government who decides they want to step in and start screwing with us. But I can't help but think on this topic that how this guy got so much ammunition and explosives, things to make explosives with, or whatever the hell he had. There's got to be some way to regulate that. I've seen the posts on Facebook, you can only buy 2 packages of Sudafed a month. They track that stuff pretty regularly, but you can go out and buy 4,000 rounds of ammo, some explosives, and 40 guns, and nobody asks a single question.
Yeah. It's frightening.
I mean,
I do agree, people have a right to own a gun for protection, but we need some better way.
There needs to be
nut jobs from acquiring.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many different arguments on the topic, and one of them is that they always break it down and they say, well, the crazy guy who took out people in the school and the crazy guy in Las Vegas and the amount of people that died make up these tiny percentages of people. I think that kind of trying to dilute the point of why it's so terrible, trying to take away from the tragedy that it is by diluting the numbers and going, well, we only lost, 0.02% of our population over this. I mean, just starts to seem a little, it seems like we're reaching here. And, we didn't hear anything from the NRA, and I totally understand why. And then now all the conspiracy theories are starting to come out that, that are just ridiculous. And the thing that was the things that were the most troubling for me were the tweets and the Facebook posts that ensued from the far left, I would assume. And it seemed like it was a lot of young people that don't have a lot of information, but they're saying these terrible things like, well, it's a country music show and they're all Republicans, so I don't feel sorry for anybody who died there. I mean, where have we gotten?
What a despicable thought. Let alone to put it out there in public. It's just
like the lady, the vice president, executive vice president of some division of CBS. She put out that terrible post, and I don't get how. I mean, I get people are angry that Trump is president. Quite frankly, I'm not real pleased with everything he's saying or doing, but this is where we're at right now. I don't understand how we can still stay so mad about it. I mean, I understand people have issues and so on, etc. But on this gun thing, I just don't understand how you're going to legislate this at this point. With as many guns as are out there and owned lawfully. It's a ridiculous amount. It's in the hundreds of millions of guns in the United States. So how are you going to regulate that?
It's probably not really possible, because just like criminals will find a gun, so will crazy people.
Well, yeah.
If that's what they're so inclined to do. What makes this so remarkable is that he did buy them legally, but there was no system in place to send up an alarm like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah. That's the part that's kind of disturbing.
And another thing I'll say is, one of the things that gun advocates always bring up as aside from the constitutional right, of course, is if everybody had a gun, there would be less crime. But people having guns would not have stopped this man.
Well, no.
He was holed up in a hotel room.
Here's the whole concealed carry permit or argument is out the window, because it doesn't matter if everybody in that audience had guns. I mean, it took them like 5 minutes to figure out where the shots were coming from. It's nighttime, you can't see the broken windows. It's being able to carry a gun, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't. I'm for the concealed carry. I am, but that wasn't going to change a thing in this under these circumstances.
It would not have stopped that horrible incident.
And people don't realize in Las Vegas, it's the biggest convention town in the United States, and people come in with all kinds of luggage. And I don't know, I've done conventions, and the cases that you carry in that carry, your booth and your supplies and all that stuff look very similar to, and they probably are the same, just lined differently, and to things you would carry guns in. So for somebody to come in with a lot of luggage into a hotel in the largest convention city in the United States, it's not weird. It's not weird for Mandalay Bay to see people bringing in 10 pieces of luggage because they don't want to leave their stuff in their car. they've got expensive items they're selling there. They take them back to their hotel and bring them back to the next day to the convention center. So it's not weird to see people with lots of luggage.
Right.
And that's why I think flags didn't go up there. And, I don't really, since it is a convention, I don't know that metal detectors would have made a difference either. I mean, I don't know. It's the whole thing's pretty depressing. And the real shitty part of it all is that Tom Petty's death was completely overshadowed by this tragedy, so there wasn't really a lot of talk. I was watching the news and they go, oh yeah, and by the way, Tom Petty died. Back to Las Vegas,
Right.
So, and Tom Petty was very influential in me in music and writing. Tom Petty, in my opinion, and Lennon and Bruce Springsteen, although it's kind of different areas, but that Bruce Springsteen and Tom Petty wrote very Americana style music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean it's terrible to lose Tom Petty. I know he struggled a lot with drugs and alcohol and so on. I guess I read something that early in the 2000s he had been struggling with some heroin. So I hope we don't hear that this is related to that, but who knows? Rock and roll does funny things to people, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, you can always feel free to talk when I stop talking. Because at home, you seem to kind of always want to shut me up and talk over me. So it's kind of weird you don't do that in the studio here. See?
I only need to talk over you when you talk for half an hour without a breath.
Huh. Wow. Well, that seems...
Not really me wanting to interrupt you, but
don't seem very
sometimes I
nice.
have no choice.
Don't seem very nice today. Seemed kind of hurtful to me today. Oh, I forgot to mention, too, the first song that we played was Silent Innocence off the Read Me album from the Darren Edwards Project. Yay! That album is available in the Apple Store and on iTunes. Feel free to go pick it up.
Yep.
Download it. So I'm excited we're going to have Toshi on here today.
Too.
I want to, let me get to this. I want to get to this song by... Oh, and all these different songs and things that I'm playing today, I'm going to put up on the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem page, so people will be able to go to them and click on them and discover that stuff for themselves.
Great.
The Native Howl's Thrashgrass album is really, the whole album's really good. I listened to the whole thing and it's really cool. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time today to play a bunch of different music by them. We really want to try and dial in this segment too, where we're talking about some of these other bands that are doing things in Chicago and people are going out to see. So I want to make sure that we get that done. So all those links will be on the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem page later today. You can go to Native Howl on Facebook as well. I'll put that link up there. So we'll just kind of move forward through these things here. And let me, we got that. So here is, give me 1 second here because I'm trying to pull this up. This is, while we're pulling some of these other things up, and I'm going to get to Miley Cyrus here in a little bit. One of my favorite groups that's coming to town this week is Government Mule. They're playing at the Riviera on the 14th. And if I had the time, I would definitely be at the show. And it seems every time Government Mule plays here, they always are at the Riviera. So anyway, one of I love Warren Haynes, great songwriter. One of my favorite songs is Beautifully Broken. So I'm going to hit that for you. This is a live version of it, and we'll be right back at you.
Why did you leave me here stranded out in the cold? Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe you're just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. Mysterious, blown in with the night. All this beauty captured in a frame, visibly shaken but never stirred. Drives them insane. I see the way she plays him in, and I know I've got to know her name. She's so beautifully broken, shaped by the wind, dangerously twisted. Here I go again. I see the way she cast her spell. It's like drowning in moonlight. Discards them when she's done. They're lost in her twilight. I watch her move from star to star, and I wonder why it feels so right. She's so beautifully broken, you barely see the flaw. Especially from a distance, which is always how I fall. Why do I fall for the dangerous ones, the ones that don't know how to let go? Why do I lie to myself, pretend that I can break her? She's already been so beautifully broken. Why do I fall for the dangerous ones, the ones that never learn to let go? Why do I lie to myself, pretend that I can break her when she's already been so beautifully broken, shaped by the wind, dangerously twisted. Here I go again. Here I go again. Here I go again. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. Here I go again.
Hi, my name's Amanda. You listen to my dad and my stepmom on the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem, and this show rocks.
Warren Haynes. God, I love Government Mule. You listen to much Government Mule? What's on your... Do you listen to anything on your iPhone? On your iPod?
No.
No? You become a lot of fun in your older age.
I know.
We used to listen to so much music,
That's
it was
one of those
ridiculous.
things I need to get around to.
All right. Well, that's all right. But anyway, you know, we were talking about the Cubs earlier, and you said you didn't see this report, but Dave Savini from Channel 2 News did this. This guy got hit with a foul ball in the face, and it busted his eye socket, and I guess he's losing his eyesight, lost his eyesight in that eye, and it was a really, really bad injury, you know, the way it happened.
Sounds like it, yeah.
It was terrible. And anyway, he posted this on Facebook, and a lot of people have a lot of mixed reactions. We've got a bunch of people who are like, oh, the poor guy, oh, baseball's dangerous, and, you know. And anyway, so there's a long slew of people going, come on, man, you got a certain amount of risk when you go to a sporting event, and you're going to sit close to the wall, especially a baseball game. We sit by the wall, and everybody hopes to catch a foul ball or a home
which
run.
means it's coming at you if you have a hope of catching it.
You kind of go into the stadium knowing that the fucking ball is moving, and it's going to come in different directions. They hit more foul balls than they hit home runs during a game. So anyway, so this lady gets on and starts tearing me a new ass and saying that I have no empathy and I'm stupid and clearly very left-leaning, which, you know, I was talking about baseball. I wasn't talking about politics and this and that. And I had posted, she was calling, she said I had no empathy in this and that. I go, look, I feel sorry for the guy. I go, but you're at the baseball game. He wasn't really paying attention when he got hit by the ball from the video I saw, you know, which you could be grabbing a hot dog, but that's, again, reasonable amount of risk.
Right.
Out of 40,000 fans, one gets hit in the face and gets hurt really, really bad. So she's like, well, we should cancel all sports. Sports shouldn't happen because someone shouldn't be losing their lives.
Talk about an overreaction. I mean, a terrible, tragic accident, but...
Slight overreaction.
A little bit, yeah.
And so I sent back, and something I learned here, too, because on this computer, it makes a ding every time somebody is responding to a post I might have put on Facebook, and I'm posting a lot of things because when I'm trying to think about things we're going to do for the show throughout the week, I kind of keep them up on my computer. So I got this conversation started this morning, and I had to get the hell out of it. I didn't know how because it kept dinging because she kept checking in and telling me what an idiot I am, and we're getting close to showtime, and I got to get it to stop. But anyway, one of the last things I said to her was I said, oh, my God, you're ridiculous. You know, of the millions of people who go see sporting events all year long, one guy gets his eye all busted out, and it's a terrible accident, and we should cancel all sports. They're too freaking dangerous. What? The whole world is afraid of everything. Now we're afraid of baseball?
You know what? She can stay home.
Well,
and watch the game on TV. Well, apparently she doesn't even really care about the game because she'd like to see them all canceled.
She'd like to see them all baseball fucking canceled forever because it's too dangerous for the spectators.
What about, well, like, you know, not just sports, but what about, for example, ballet? What if one of the dancers spun off the stage and fell into the audience?
Fell into the orchestra?
Yeah, maybe that should be outlawed as well.
Yeah, we should, everything's really dangerous now in this world. Everything you should be terrified of. Be terrified of every single thing now because everything is scary. It's scary. Can't go to a Jason Aldean concert. Can't go to a Cubs game because you might get hit in the face with the baseball. I mean, you know, it's just completely ridiculous. So I made this comment. Yeah, this is kind of the whole point of this story. I said, you know what? I'll tell my son to get out of the military, too, because defending your freedom to be a nut job is clearly too risky. Which, in saying that, making the comparison to how ridiculous she sounds and what people really go through as far as danger. I mean, you know, you went to a spectator sport. Unfortunately, out of the 40,000 people there, you got hit with a baseball in the face. The other 39,999 people fared okay, ate hot dogs, drank beer, got drunk, had a good time, high-fived a lot. Maybe there were some people who had red palmed hands from high-fiving. That's dangerous. You never know. It could break the skin and get an infection. She responds back when I said that with the only way your son would be defending me is if he's fighting Congress and President Trump. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll keep that in mind.
And why is this woman
fucking
on your
tool.
Facebook? Why?
She's not on my Facebook. Oh. It's on a link that, you know, from Channel 2 and Dave Savini's report on this thing because he's the one who did the report. You know, so he's, you know, I got to say, he's pretty good about putting stuff up. And letting people comment on it because there were people swearing a lot on here, going, you know, F this guy, you know, Jesus Christ. There's a reasonable amount of risk. Pretty much everybody says when you go to a baseball game and you sit 3 feet off the fucking wall. I'm pretty certain you should understand that walking in. And if you were reaching for a hot dog and you got cracked in the face, and it's terrible that you went blind, but you know that's the risk you took sitting there.
Now, this is why there's the phrase "shit happens."
Shit happens. Well, I actually said that in that post. It was kind of funny, but she just told me. I said, I'll keep that in mind when I made that comment about my son in the military. And she says, "You do that. You're so sad." I'm like, oh God.
So are you done with her now?
I'm done.
with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was on
Are
a
you-
mad, frantic pace
like,
to stop
not only
the notifications.
conversation about it now, but are you done like needling each other?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not going to
yeah.
talk to her anymore. She's
I know.
clearly a weirdo, but I mean, I get in arguments sometimes with people on Facebook about
No.
politics. Yeah, it's hard to
You
believe,
do?
isn't it? I mean, I've been told I'm not a patriot. I need to take my American flag down and that military flag that wave in front of our house here every single day. I need to take it down. I don't deserve to have an American flag. I mean, I should. One lady told me that I should be dead. And I can't remember how she.
Meanness.
Well, that's
know
what I don't
why
get.
There's so much meanness now.
Everybody's so
like that.
angry.
They don't like that.
One presidential election and everybody's angry. I just, Jesus Christ. It's time to start kind of getting together and working at this. I just don't see it. And, the funny thing is none of these people who say the things that they say in such dramatic fashion, like there was this one lady, and the way she had worded this to me, it was like she was calling for my execution. And I called her out. I go, are you calling for my murder because we disagree on a political topic? I go, you realize how ridiculous that sounds? And you want to talk about unpatriotic? You don't agree with me, so you want me dead? That's just fucking stupid. So, I don't know. I hope everybody can listen to some rock and roll and, mellow the fuck out, man.
Time for more peace and love.
Yeah, people are just too pissed off and angry. How can you be really angry after listening to Warren Haynes and Beautifully Broken? It's a great song.
It was.
I think it was written about me. I think Warren Haynes wrote that song for me. Beautifully Broken. What, you don't think so?
I hadn't heard that before, but I'm sure you're probably right.
Oh, I'm certain.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure he did. So any I meant to ask you this earlier and see if you wanted to talk about it, so I'm just going to throw it at you. Any concerts you want to see this year before the year is up? Anything you want to go see?
Oh, it would be great to go see Hamilton.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready to donate one of my kidneys for that. So
Hamilton? I said a concert, not a theatrical performance.
I know, but it's still music.
We should have gone and seen Alice Cooper when he was at the casino, man.
Oh, yeah.
His new album is
We should
awesome. I'm really sorry we didn't go see him.
Yeah,
I
we should
blame
have.
you. It's your fault. It's all your fault. Listen, I want to play a song here by one of my new favorite bands. We're gonna later in the show we're gonna mention where these bands that I'm playing are, where they're gonna be out playing. But I want to play a song by my favorite new song by a Chicago band, Bailside. Wash, rinse, repeat.
All right.
It's something you could probably think about doing. Wash, rinse, repeat. Do that with your hair. We have these things. You go into the shower, and then there's these bottles that are in there. You can put them. They're soap. You put them in your hand.
I would throw something at you, but there's a
You
possibility people are watching.
Well, I don't want you to break anything in here. Everything in here is too expensive.
Right.
Anyway, let's get to a little Veilside here with Wash, Rinse, Repeat.
Feel a little lonely since you left the message on my wall.
Hi, this is Ken Jagman.
And I'm Steve Kuba from the Ken Jagman Band.
You're listening to the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem Show. Steve, why aren't you wearing any pants?
Darren wanted it that way.
Oh, Ken Jagman, Steve Kuba. Ken Jagman's out in Vegas still, man. He runs this really into the dogs. And he's
he was out there standing in line to donate blood with
Yeah.
all the other good people.
He's such a good guy, and he's not really doing any music anymore. It's such a shame. He's just such a talented guy, but I mean, it is what it is. He's still got his company out there, and then he's also got this dog company, and they do everything from grooming dogs to training dogs, and it's really pretty cool. So I'm proud of him. I'm happy for Ken Jagman. Wonder what Steve Kuba's up to.
Haven't seen him in a while.
God, we haven't seen so many people. We got, as this transpires, and we're going to be getting, I'm going to play another song here in a minute, and we're going to get Toshi on the horn in that next song, so we can spend some time with him. But promos. So I was going through these promos, and I have trunks still full of all kinds of stuff we can pull, but we're going to start doing some new ones. So as this gets some legs, there's some kind of neat things that we're going to be doing here with the show. So like when we play the song, hopefully here in the next 4 or 5 shows, depending on what this is all going to entail, you'll be able to see the video or the image of the band or the band's contact information as we go to a song, instead of having to sit here and look at us. So all the information and the things that we put up here about everything we're trying to do will be able to be tied into this to the feed here on Facebook. So that's kind of cool. I think that'll be a good thing for us to be able to do. So we're looking forward to that. And then I'm hoping next week Mike's going to be in the studio with me, because you're going to be in California. We'll see. We'll get the kid. If I can get the kid out here to do the show with me, oh God, think of the trouble we could cause. Get dancers in here so the audience has.
You'll want to change it to Dag Nabit Music Mayhem with
He doesn't have time.
With you and Mike.
No.
He doesn't have time. He's a busy guy.
You're way prettier than he is, although he's pretty cute.
The girls seem to think so.
The girls really seem to like him a lot.
He's just my brother-in-law, but
Yeah, the girls dig him. Is what it is. But anyway, we're going to be getting Toshi here on the horn. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and play. Now, since the Darren Edwards project, I've gotten into a lot of different music and a lot of blues rock and stuff like that. And I'm a big Joe Bonamassa fan. But as far as singers go, this woman that he does a lot of stuff with, Beth Hart, is just awesome. So I'm going to put some Joe Bonamassa on. We're going to go ahead and get Toshi on the horn, and we're going to play a bunch of Toshi and talk to Toshi. And we're going to have a little bit more fun here. So this is Joe Bonamassa and Beth Hart, Close to My Fire.
Someone to come on over there and kiss you. Maybe do a little something more. Let's go Close to My Fire. Close to my fire. Baby, it's cold when you're gone. Don't make me wait too long. Whenever you're near, I hide all this feeling. You're melting me down. burning, flames getting higher. You light me up. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You light me up. Oh come on, you light me up. Close to my fire. I got close to my fire. I zip it up, ba-da-da-ba-da-da-ba-ba.
We are back. We are back, and that was Toshi Zeta, Custer's Last Groove.
Okay.
You know, we got this new equipment, Tosh. You can go ahead and talk to us now.
Okay. Well, for one thing, you got to pronounce my last name correctly. Zeta.
Zeta. You know, I should know that. I've known you long enough.
Zeta, no Z. Zeta.
Zeta. How come you never corrected me on that before?
Oh, don't worry about it, man. I've been called worse, so, by lots of people.
Oh, Jesus. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing okay. A little tired today, and outside enjoying this nice rainy weather that we're having. I like the rainy, gloomy weather. It's a little humid out today, but and I'm with that weather comes very little signal on my cell phone, so you'll have to bear with me if I lose you or if you can't hear me.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. We've got new gear here, and we're still trying to get acclimated to it all ourselves. So don't feel bad.
Right on.
We're learning some of this new stuff. You know, last time when we did the show, we had engineer and we had two producers, and now here we wing it on our own. But it's kind of funny. Linda and I were talking about it, and this is kind of tie into probably some stuff we'll talk about today about technology and how far ahead it is now, and it enables you to do all kinds of crazy things without, when we used to build studios before, they used to cost $250,000.
Oh yeah.
Now
people are making records out of their bedrooms.
Yeah, on their iPad.
Yep.
It's really, really crazy to see what you can do now today. So, anyway, man, what the heck? You got all kinds of stuff going on.
Oh man, way too much stuff going on actually.
Well, tell us about. I know you Toshi's going to be at what's it called? It's called
Biketoberfest.
Biketoberfest, and that's in Florida, which is cool.
Daytona.
Daytona.
What a fun thing to go to. And all the more awesome because you can go see Toshi if anybody's down there.
Right on. Tell us about it. Tell us what's going on down there.
Well, it's kind of funny. What ended up happening was they ended up contacting me and asking me if I'd be interested in doing this thing. And I said, well, with a band or just solo? And they said, well, just solo. And it's Biketoberfest. It's in Daytona, and it happens the 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And I said, okay, so give me an idea of what I would be doing. Well, we'd like you to perform, like, let's say 4 times a day on the bed of a Ram truck. And I was like, I'm in. That sounds really cool to me. Yeah. So I've heard of this fest before, and I heard it's, like, off the chain. And I was like, count me in. Yeah, that sounds awesome. So now I'm like, we just finished the legal paperwork this past week, and that's why I was able to make the announcement this past week because, I knew it was going to happen, but, you don't want to announce things. I learned the hard way this past summer. You don't want to announce things unless you got it in writing and in paperwork, and your lawyer's seen it, and their lawyer's seen it, and that's that.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I know I've been, watching your Facebook page, and you and I have talked on the phone several times about this, and you haven't been able to say anything about it, so it's pretty exciting. And, you're a pretty busy guy, always moving around, and whether you're at NAMM show and, now, when you do these NAMM shows, I got a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
Because I'm interested. When you go to the NAMM show, and I don't know if other musicians that might be listening to this or listening to the rebroadcast later on might have the same questions, so that's why I'm going to ask them. So don't hate me if they sound stupid. But generally,
no, not at all.
When you go to the shows, you're generally at a booth representing a product that's sponsoring you, correct?
Correct.
Now, you have multiple sponsorships. How do you do that?
What do you mean? How do I do what exactly?
Well,
more specific.
Well,
I'm not playing for all of them at the different booths. What I might do is get on average, what I will do is play at preferably 1 or 2 booths, and then advertise multiple people that I work with that are that don't have any kind of conflict of interest with that particular booth.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, but you don't move around you've been sponsored by Morley and Ernie Ball for a long time. I don't imagine they're at the same booth. So.
No, and Morley, I've been endorsing Morley. Morley was my first endorsement that I got in July. I'm sorry, I think it was June of 1990. Can you believe that? But yeah, they were my first endorsement. And yeah, if I'm playing, for example, at the Eventide booth, I'll promote Morley. You know, I'll have say that I'm using their pedals on the floor and whatnot. You know, Ernie Ball will always give me stuff to bring to the booth as well. And usually, like, since there's no conflict of interest between Ernie Ball, Morley pedals, and let's say someone like at Eventide, or like, you know, when I was playing with Crank Amplifiers, there was never a conflict of interest between the companies because, like, generally speaking, don't make the same things. So.
Gotcha.
Therefore, we were able to cross-promote, you know, without me having to jump back and forth to booths. There's nothing worse than having to tear down your gear and bring a show, pack it all up, run to another booth, unpack it, plug it all up in, play at another booth for a little bit, you tear that stuff down again because you got to play somewhere else. I'd rather just play one or two booths during the course of 4 days, you know, and leave it set up, preferably just one, and advertise, you know, I'm playing at this one booth multiple times a day. I'm also representing multiple companies at this one booth. That's the way I like it. Some guys like to just get up and want to be seen at every single booth and everything, and that's cool, man. You know, but that's not me.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember back? Jesus, we're going back. What? I'm gonna say probably 17 years. I was gonna go to Nam. You got me a ticket to go to Nam with you in Germany.
Oh, no, that's not NAMM. That's actually the Frankfurt Music Messe.
Oh yeah, I was going to go to Frankfurt, and I had bought my ticket. And ironically, at that time, the ticket to Frankfurt, Germany, was like $200 round trip. And then my brother had he was down in Texas, and there was my little brother, and he had a whole bunch of things that were going on that were really, really bad, and I couldn't go, and I had to call United Airlines to redo my ticket and use it here in the States, and they didn't want me to do that. They weren't gonna allow me to use that ticket and the money that I paid for it. So I had to actually say that my brother died.
Oh, that's not good. But man, you do what you gotta do, I guess.
Yeah, I had to say my brother died, Toshi, and I was really pissed because I was really excited about going. I had went and got my passport for this whole thing, and here I was going to be hanging out in Frankfurt with you for whatever it was, a week or so, and instead I wound up driving a 1970 truck like Nissan with hard seats straight through from Dallas to Chicago, and used my ticket for that. But yeah, they wanted me to produce a birth certificate or a death certificate for my brother. It was quite an Oscar nominated.
Oh.
Yeah, it was an Oscar nominated performance I put on to get him to do it without an actual dead brother.
This was back in the days when the Messe was 5 days long. That was a pretty brutal show to be playing at.
Well, how long?
Now it's 4 days.
No,
Now it's 4 days. But back then, it was 5 days long. And the first 2 years that I was there, I got sick. I got a cold and I got a flu. Because, you know, you've got not only weather change, but you've got time changes. So you don't give your body time to acclimate to the new surroundings and whatnot. And so you're in a totally different sleep pattern, which wears down your immune system. And next thing you know, I mean, you can get over it if you're not going to go out, you know. But I was like, my first 2 years there, I'm like, I'm in Germany. I want to go out and hang out and see things, you know. I want to go out and party, man. You know, where's the bars at? You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's do all this whole stuff. And next thing you know, I mean, you like I said, you're in a totally different sleep cycle, and the times that you're supposed to be going to bed, you're like, you know, you're like waking up. You know what I mean? I mean, so and then you've got to perform on top of it. So that will wear you out. Well, and like I said, the first 2 years I was there, I literally came back home sick as a dog.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really crazy. But I've learned now that it's better to try and get there a few days before the actual event starts, and get your body acclimated to that time change, and then you'll be much better. And it's worth the money to, you know. And now I have friends that I stay with from going, you know, throughout the years. I've been going to the music messe since 1995, when I've met several friends. And now instead of staying in a hotel, I will stay at their house, you know. So
right.
It's better for me because I don't have to worry about paying for a hotel room, and the company that's sending me over there doesn't have to pay, you know, for the hotel room either. So I get to go over there maybe like a week early even, and just hang out and get acclimated and get used to the time change. And then by the time the show starts, I'm in good shape.
That's awesome. Well, you know, I mean, it's a different time now, so I think in the music business you got to do everything you can too to save a buck, I would imagine, if you're on tour.
Well, yeah, and that wasn't so much of a tour as it was you're just playing at a convention, and you know they're going to pay you for the nights that you fly in. Like company will pay you for the nights that you fly in and then fly out. But if you're going to spend any extra time there, they don't want to have to pay for that because that's not on their agenda. Right. So, like I said, having been going there since 1995, I've developed several friendships and relationships with people where I can go and call up my buddy Robin and go, hey, listen, you know, dude, do you mind if I come out and hang for a week, you know, before the show starts? And he's always like, oh, no problem at all. Or my buddy Ziggy, you know, whatever. I'll call them up and be like, you know, just can I hang for you know, a week before the show starts, you know? And that's great. And then after the show's over, the next day I usually fly back home. And then, of course, jet lag kicks. But then I'm on my own time to recover and stuff, you know? I'm not taking up anybody else's time or money. I'm back at home.
Right. Well, that's pretty awesome, man. Now, another thing I got to ask you, you know, and I know you're really good friends with Mark Tremonti, and he's another one of my favorite guitar players. I was a huge Creed fan, man, when Creed came out.
Yeah, Mark's one of my best friends. Love him.
And, you know, there's always a lot of pictures with you. Now, I heard some rumors that, you know, no, they're good rumors. But and I think a lot of people don't realize this, and I know a bunch of other musicians who, even though they're touring, they're accomplished, they've done multiple records, that they still are always getting new ideas and, so to speak, sitting down, taking guitar lessons from other guitar players. So I heard a rumor that sometimes you sit down with Mark Tremonti and dose out a lesson of some new ideas. Is that true?
Well, you know, that is true. The cool thing about Mark, though, is Mark is he's a sponge, okay? Mark is great. And in so many ways, he's an influence on me because he's the kind of guy that will sit there and if he sees a 13-year-old kid playing a cool lick, Mark Tremonti is the kind of guy that will look at that kid and go, hey, man, show me that lick. I mean, he has no ego at all when it comes down to guitar playing. He just wants to get better. He's like what I would call the 2000s version of Randy Rhoads. Because back in the day, I remember hearing about how Randy Rhoads would be playing with Ozzy, and then he'd go to a random music store and take a classical guitar lesson. You know, he wasn't about, yeah, I'm playing at the arena tonight, screw you. You know, who are you? You're a little whatever, you know what I mean? He wasn't about that at all. I mean, you know, he was about learning how to become a better guitar player, which is awesome. He's never a poser, and you can see the strides that he made on just the two Ozzy records that he made, the differences between the two records. And the same goes for Mark between the end of Creed and the first Alter Bridge record. I mean, what a huge jump in guitar playing, you know? Very few others in this industry have done that kind of thing, where they're not so much interested in being a rock star as they are in being a musician and improving themselves.
Right.
The only guy I can think of offhand is George Lynch. So you listen to, just in the Dokken records, not even going into Lynch Bomb stuff, just in the Dokken records, from the first Dokken record to, let's say, the last live Dokken record you hear, I mean, the live record is it doesn't even sound like the same player. I mean, if someone had said, do you think this is the same guy? I would have been like, there's no way this is the same player. Maybe his vibrato, but his technique had so much greatly improved that it was like, wow. And there again was another guy that just wanted to become a better guitar player. And George is now a friend of mine as well. As a matter of fact, his birthday was just this past week. So, or I think maybe the week before. I don't remember. It was recently. His birthday was recently, though. But again, those guys inspire me to learn and not just settle and, you know, on what you've already learned and already done, but to improve yourself and to push yourself.
Right. Well, that's huge. I mean, to be able to actually have the relationships that you have with all these people, I've always been pretty envious of. You know, and speaking of Randy Rhoads, I mean, I know you've hung out and spent a lot of time with Zakk Wylde. What's your guys' relationship like? I mean,
great. Another like a brother to me. You know, I mean, that's all there is to it. I've known Zakk for 28 years, and I've known him for more than both of our lives. And, you know, he's a phenomenal guy, and it's like I could not see him for like maybe 2 or 3 years because we're both busy doing things. And as soon as we connect, it's like I just saw him last week.
Wow, he just did something with School of Rock, which is, in my opinion, a great organization. They're doing a lot of great things with young people, you know, getting them involved in the arts, because God knows none of that stuff's in the schools anymore.
No,
it's really a shame, you know, unless you pay to go to college, you know, and take music.
Right.
But School of Rock's doing great things, and he got on stage with all these young kids. And it was really funny because I didn't realize Zakk Wylde was the other guitar player, because in some of these videos they'll have one adult, and it's these really young little kids, and I look and I go, wait a minute, that's Zach Wilde's playing guitar with them. It was really cool.
And you know, honestly, one of the reasons, going back to technology here, one of the reasons why you don't have a lot of music in the schools is because a lot of what, you know, this goes back to even, you know, private instruction too as well, because obviously, as you know, I taught privately for many, many, many years, and you know, it's one of those kind of things where there's so much information on the internet that you can get. It's almost like, why bother?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like you want to get a riff, you want to like learn how to play like John Petrucci or whatever, you know, then you're gonna go up online on YouTube and find every video that John's done, whether it's in its entirety or in different pieces.
Right.
You know, and you can do that with everybody. And
Right.
it's an unfortunate thing. It's fortunate but unfortunate, and it's unfortunate because of the fact that, you know, it actually dampens music. I'm not sure how to explain this, but for an example, I remember teaching a kid, and he had gotten a lick off of a video, and because he was all about, and this was before, like, you know, he wasn't even getting it off YouTube, it was off of a DVD, and he couldn't figure out why, like, he wasn't able to accomplish this lick and execute this lick, you know, and finally this kid comes into me, he's like, man, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, and it took me 2 seconds to go, well, here's your problem, dude, you're doing 2 downstrokes in a row, and you should be ultimate picking. You know,
Right.
and a video can't tell you that. They can't look at you while you're playing because you're looking at your left hand. You're not thinking about your right hand. And the problem is not your left hand or your fingering. In most cases, it's your right hand and the way you're picking.
Well, you know, that's interesting you're talking about this, because I have been, I mean, you know, I'm a guitar player. I'm not a Toshi Zeta. I primarily play rhythm guitar. I've written plenty of lead parts, but executing them in full on stage are different. There's a lot of instructional stuff out there, and most of it, you know, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I really respect people putting themselves out there on YouTube trying to teach people. I think it's remarkable that anybody spends their time doing it at all, because it's next to impossible to make any money with YouTube out there.
Right.
But there's not a lot of guys who execute it well. Probably one of the better ones I've seen, and I've actually taken, you know, followed him a little bit, has been Steve Stein. You know, he works through the both ends of it, like you're saying. But you're absolutely right, because I've tried to, you know, I go to YouTube sometimes and I go, what is this part? You can literally just find parts to songs on YouTube by specific guitar players and specific songs. So how do you make money being a teacher? I can't imagine.
You really can, unless you're doing it like Steve Vai does, which he does his guitar school.
Right.
But that's Steve Vai, you know, and it's a great thing. But at the same time, it's kind of weird because, you know, 20 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, but, you know, 25 years ago, you couldn't get near Steve Vai, and now you can have lunch next to him in the cafeteria.
Right. Yeah, you know, my brother Mike just did the drum school camp, you know, with Steve Smith and Todd Suckerman and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, he had a great time. But, you know, that's the thing. Everything has changed so much that I think the artists have to kind of they have to get closer. To your point that you were making about how it's kind of watered down and diluted, you know, in my opinion, there's a couple of things that came out of this that are good, and there's a slew of things that came out of the technology for the music business that are bad. The bad ones are...
Yeah, I would definitely say the bad outweigh the good by far.
No doubt. Well, I mean, you know, the biggest thing I think that happened, and tell me what you think on this, is that a lot of artists who never, ever would have been noticed, ever, or even had been able to be played anywhere, had that opportunity to get noticed thanks to technology. You know, that was the really bad thing that came out of things like, I mean, among other things, out of Napster and Green Lime and, you know, all these sharing programs that never were charging for music until, you know, Apple and Sony started to get their head around this a little bit. But
the problem, not to interrupt you, but the problem with that, though, again, is that, and we'll talk more about this in the future because I want to explain something about my next record, which is not going to be a full record in one piece. But the problem with that is with iTunes that allows you to pick and choose the songs. The idea of having conceptual records is completely over now. I mean, you will never have a Pink Floyd, Animals record or The Wall or whatever record again, because those are conceptual records, or like somebody like Rush. When you can take just one part of the record and download that one part, as opposed to getting the entire concept of the record itself or the CD itself, that will never happen again. So that part of our artistry is gone. Okay. Unfortunately, like I said before, when you put out a full CD and you can download songs individually, that allows you to pick and choose. And sometimes for the listener, that's not always a good thing as well, because sometimes, I mean, how many times have you heard a song and at first you didn't like it? Off the entire CD that you bought or record that you bought, you didn't like that one song, but then later on it grew on you.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it becomes your favorite song. Now, if you're allowed to download that, you would have picked that song and go, I'm skip over that, not knowing that could be your next favorite song 3 months later.
Right. Well, that's a thing about, and I've explained this to my kids. My oldest daughter just turned 30, and the way they get music today is very different, than the way we used to get it. It was a big deal when a record came out to go to the record store, wait for that store to open. You couldn't wait to see what the inside of when you opened up the record, what the liner notes said. Every Tuesday. And it was, and my cousin worked at a record store in Addison, Illinois, and we would go to that record store and we literally wait till it opened. And we weren't the only ones doing that for the next big album that was coming out. So it was an overall experience, and you just nailed something that I was going to say, which is that you miss out when an artist comes out with one record or comes out with a record and there's only the first song is what prompted you to maybe be interested in it. You lose out on those other 10 that might be on that record because they didn't because you paid 99 cents for the one song, and the odds are you're not going to spend 14 for the whole album. You're going to fill your iPod up with not albums but with songs, and you're going to have 1,000 different artists, and you might have 700 different songs. So that's something that's disappointing to me. I think a lot of people miss out on.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people don't understand the concept of it either, as well as the fact that when doing so, you're talking about provided if the person is responsible enough to buy the thing in the first place, as opposed to stealing it. Okay,
right.
So that's a whole other ballgame. And that's where the Napster part came in, as far as that goes, versus iTunes. Getting stuff for free. And the way I explain it to people, it's like, and I understand it completely, because I put it in terms of, hey, I want a hamburger. Okay, so why would I go to, with no legal tendency here, why would I go to McDonald's and buy a Big Mac when I can go to Burger King and get a Whopper for free if I want a hamburger?
Right.
I'm going to go to Burger King and get that Whopper for free because I want a hamburger.
Right. And
then put that money somewhere else.
Right.
Fortunately for Burger King and McDonald's, you can't download a burger yet.
No.
So but any kind of media you can. And there's certain telltale things that go on in the industry, in the entertainment industry, that tell you where we're headed. One of the reasons why I moved down to Tennessee from Chicago which is one of the most expensive cities to live in, by the way, Chicago, in the United States, was because when Tower Records went out of business, I said, I have to move someplace demographically where it's less expensive to live if I want to continue in this industry, because it's getting too expensive for me to pay X amount of dollars for the apartment that I was living in downtown Chicago. So when that happened, that was Tower Records. That was a part of the music business. And then next thing you saw was Blockbuster going out of business.
Right.
When Blockbuster went out of business, I said, okay, there's the film industry right there. Now they're hurting too, because it's all about putting asses in the seats. You have a summer Blockbuster movie. It's about people coming out to the theater and paying for those tickets. And now they're waiting for it to come out on DVD. Or they're waiting for it to come out. One of their friends get it on DVD, and then they copy it and they share it with their friends and their friends and their friends. And guess what? I guarantee you, people like Sylvester Stallone or Tom Cruise are not getting the money that they were getting back in the early '90s or even in the '80s.
Oh, no!
Because they can't afford it. Movie houses can't afford it. So that was when Blockbuster movies went out of business. I noticed that the movie industry was hurting too as well. And then came Borders Books. When they went out of business, that told me these little things called Kindles are putting the book industry out of business, which which is really good as well because I love to read books and I hate Kindle.
Well, I heard Train in an interview, and they kind of summed it up in a nutshell, and they said there's no money to be made by making records anymore. He says we make records because it's how we express ourselves, and that's how we introduce or keep our fans aware that we're still here and we're doing something new. But we don't make money making records. We make money by selling tickets and merchandise.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
it.
And meet and greet passes and all that kind of stuff. Those kind of deals and whatnot. I forgot who I was talking to about. This, but this happens with every band. Every band these days has meet and greets packages where you can meet the band and
right.
And you pay for these packages, and this is how the bands are recuperating from financial loss of CDs. Back in the day, Led Zeppelin never did meet and greets.
Right.
Unless it was with the execs from the record label. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it seems ridiculous to even say meet and greet and Led Zeppelin in the same sentence.
Exactly. Aerosmith never did meet and greets. All those bands from the 70s and usually the 80s too never did meet and greets.
Well, that was part of the.
Never did meet and greets.
That was part of the rock star. Being a rock star, the lure of wanting. The only way you could get close to them was by watching them on Midnight Special or having their record or seeing them in Circus magazine. Yeah, man. So, those were the ways that you got close and got to know your band, and then you would go out and you would get the next, magazine. Like Circus was a big one I read when I was a kid. And you'd learn little things, and you'd cut out pictures, and you'd hang them on the wall of them, that cool guitar stance, and that's how you got to know your band. Now,
right? You do realize we're dating ourselves now.
Yes, we're making ourselves. Well, listen, my daughter did that for us yesterday by turning 30, so that really kind of screwed things up for me and Linda. But Jesus, but yeah, it's really changed, and I think it's gotten diluted, like you said, and everything's a little more watered down. I listen to a lot of artists that I like, and then if I listen to them back to back, I'm like, oh my God, everybody's starting to sound the same. They're only after one song. They're not looking to put together a whole package that has a story that's a part of it and how you got there.
Right, exactly.
And that's disappointing to me. And I sound like an old man when I sit around and I talk to my kids or other younger people about it, because they go, oh, it just downloaded a new Justin Bieber song. I'm like, yeah, good for you. You ask for your 99 cents back. But, the truth is that the music industry is very different now. It's tough to make money. It's a struggle for record labels to make money. And quite frankly, it's their fault. They let this shit get so crazy and ignored everything that was going on. They kind of got what they deserved. And then when they started losing, stealing everybody's publishing rights, they wanted to hang on to them with dear life because that's all they had. And the courts started going, no, you kind of really don't deserve to have them anymore. We're going to give them back to the original writers.
Well, that's the reason why I got off my label that I actually started, which is like kind of ironic and going into this, into this segue here. Because as you know, I started my own record label. When I was back in 1996, when I was like trying to get a record deal, I finally said, fuck it, man. I'll do it myself, okay? I'm a smart enough person, I can do it myself. And I started Over the Top Records in 96 without having any product out. I just started the name and got, all the copyright stuff done and all that kind of stuff, all the paperwork done, all the legal stuff done. And so I then, for the subsequent 2 years after that, started working on my first record, Full On, and then put out Full On in 1998, okay? The record label did so well, I sold a lot of copies of that CD, and we're working with other bands as well, that two guys that knew about this wanted to buy the record label from me. And to be honest, I've always been a musician. I'm a businessman as well, but I play guitar. That's what I want to do. I'm not interested in being on the phone all day or sitting behind a desk all day or a computer or whatever. I'm interested in making music. And oftentimes people forget about that. But we've got to practice. You've got to write and be inspired. And you can't do that if you're on the phone talking business all the time.
No, you
even
can't.
About your career. I'll do that for my career. But I got tired of doing it for other people's career when I was like, man, I need to practice. So I'm talking to this band about doing this on the record. You know. So long story short, in 2000, I sold my record label to these two jackasses. And after Full On came out, I subsequently put out 4 other CDs. Okay, I didn't tell people about them though, because well, at first they knew, but I stopped telling them about them in 2007, around 2007, 2008, somewhere around there, because I wasn't getting paid. And right about then, in 2008, is when I jumped on Facebook. So I don't talk about these other records at all, okay? Because, like I said, I'm not getting paid. We actually had a cease and desist put on this label for them even preventing them from selling my record because of the fact that they were getting all the money and they weren't, they were not sharing the money. They weren't paying me at all.
Right.
So, and this is kind of like on the back burner ongoing lawsuit even to this day in 2017 because these guys owe me a lot of money. And, once again, that's the only reason why I do promote Full On is because I own the entire rights to that record.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that yes, that label started off as my label. And, they don't know subsequently because of lack of promotion and distribution in some cases that the other 4 CDs are unknown.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. See, that's, I don't think I actually knew that. Did you know that, Linda?
I didn't. I really didn't.
We just got some new information there. I didn't know that.
Well, that was the problem, and the label was not promoting the record, and they were promoting other people instead. And I was like, the record, and I was like, dude, like, so what's going on, man? I mean, like, I'm doing stuff here, and I need to be, having you guys having some label support here, and they weren't giving me label support. Which nowadays and age, I mean, you couldn't pay me to be on a record label. I would never want to be on a record label because the whole point of being on a label is now over. Okay, the whole point of being on a label is for primarily 2 things: distribution and marketing. Both of those are gone in this day and age in this industry. Okay, as far as distribution goes, back in the day, you had to get on a label to get a distributor to put out your record in a CD store, like a Tower Records or like a Flipside or Virgin Records. I remember walking into Virgin Records back in 1998 and Tower Records back in 1998 and buying Full On, especially Full On, the Tower Records in Chicago, and buying Full On. I saw my name in the rack and started to cry because I put that there. I got my own distribution on my own label, and I got my own stuff in the Tower Records. And I just started to cry in the middle of the store.
Okay, now I would have liked some pictures of that. Yeah.
There, you know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you. It was funny until when I started Dag Nabit back in the in what was that, 91 or 92 when I first started Dag Nabit. Nobody wanted anything to do with us. I mean, we were just another organization that was trying to do the right thing, but nobody really cared. There were too many there were too many different companies trying to do exactly what we were doing. But we persevered through that, and as a matter of fact, it was back then when I finally met you. You were writing articles and putting in like guitar lessons in magazines. I think you were in Showcase. You were in oh boy, there was a Backstage Pass. Yeah, the Illinois Entertainer, and back then, again, this was the allure of being, an artist and being a well-known player. I couldn't get to you. It took me years to get to you, and it was by chance through Showcase Midwest that we hooked up, and we had become friends, and then you started writing for us, and
then you guys put me on the cover,
and we put you on the cover,
framed.
and I'll tell you something. It was. I look back on it now, and it is much easier to reach people. I think other people probably get excited about it, maybe like we did. I don't know. But the music industry, what we had wanted to do, nobody would touch us. Same with the distribution. And then once we started doing radio and the paper and started, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more well-known, then the door started to open for us. But then when the Depp came out and got in the Tower Records, I feel your pain because it was pretty exciting. So,
right.
It
wasn't actually my pain; it was my joy.
Yeah,
finally getting it in there. That's it. You know what I mean?
It takes so much hard work just to make a damn record. There's so much emotion that goes into making a record, and to finally see it in a record store on a shelf, under T, or in my case under, well, we would have been under T too, the Darren Edwards project. But you know what I'm saying. So I can totally understand how you felt, because it was exciting for me. I didn't cry though. I will tell you.
Actually, it would be under I. It was under I.
Oh, you were under I. Yeah.
Last name, if I'm correct.
You stayed on the shelf a lot longer than I did, but you know, hell, I was still there. It was pretty cool to find your record in Best Buy. You know.
Right. I was there too. Exactly.
You know, we'd see Mike and I would go, and we go, oh, there's Toshi's record. Oh, there's our record. Oh, there's our other friend's record. Oh, there's our other friend's record. You know, then they disappeared. You can't, you know, nobody buys records anymore. It's a sad state.
But we still
the problem arose, again, going back to technology, was that everybody was, you know, doing stuff on their own, and once they figured out how to do certain things, see, everybody turns into an engineer. There's a reason why guys go to school to learn how to engineer.
Right.
And a lot of guys think because you get, like, Pro Tools, or because you get, you know, whatever, Cubase or whatever thing, that makes you an engineer. Not the case. And I'll give you a prime example of this, okay? I had a friend that I went to school at Berkeley with, and he was majoring in the MP&E, which is the music production and engineering. And I was majoring in music performance and music education. I had a dual major. And so this guy, I had just gotten a Tascam 388 8-track reel-to-reel recorder. And I was really excited about this. And this guy had this, I don't remember what he had. It was some kind of a 4-track. I don't remember if it was a Tascam or Fossex or whatever it was. But he only had a 4-track. And I had, you know, an 8-track reel-to-reel. I'm thinking, I'm going to wipe this guy's demos off the table, man. You know what I mean? So I started, you know, recording stuff on my Tascam 388, which I still have to this day, by the way.
Wow.
And I started recording on this stuff. And I went to my buddy and said, check this out, man. And I started playing for him. He's like, cool. That's really cool, man. Sounds good. He's like, here's my latest stuff. And he pulls out this 4-track, and this 4-track recording blew my shit away. And that's when I realized, like, you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay? I know guys that can walk into a room and tell you how a guitar is going to sound in the room just by the dimensions of the room.
Yeah, yeah. And
you know what I mean? Mic placement, you know, what kind of mics to use, where to place the mic, things like that. You know, EQ, where things fit in mix with the EQ. You got to learn this stuff, and like I said, there's a reason why Berkeley and other places, you know, have you know, schools where you do this stuff for years. You know,
right.
It's not like overnight. You don't learn it in a month and become an engineer. You learn it over the course of years.
Well, and there's something to be said for having an ear. I mean, I've met some guys who have all the knowledge around a studio there is in the whole world, and then you put some guy who's just got a really amazing ear, and he goes, no, I'm gonna move that mic about 2 inches to the left of that speaker in that cabinet, and we're gonna use a different mic, and I'm gonna hit it with a 54 on the other side of that speaker. And you go, wait a minute, what just happened? This guy barely did anything, and the sound is completely different. So, you know, understanding your equipment and then having an ear for what you're really looking for, you know, it's amazing to watch a real producer work.
Well, that's how
engineer.
Steve Vai did it, and I mentored Steve Vai. I mean, to me, I mimicked him because he mimicked Frank Zappa. You know what I mean, as far as that goes. So, I mean, the reason why I put out Full On was because Steve Vai had before that put out Flexible, and I said, that's cool what he did, but he learned from the best. He learned from Frank Zappa. Okay, he was like, you know, one of the pioneering guys. I have my own recording studio. I have my own label because nobody wants to put out my shit, so I'll do it myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he was pioneering in that way, and Steve learned from him and watching him. And I did the same thing with engineers that I would work with in the studio. Like, I would never call myself an engineer by any means, okay? Although I did engineer many parts of Full On, I always brought in other guys that knew more than me.
Right.
But I would watch them and learn. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then I'd go, move over. Let me do it. I get it now. I get it now.
Right.
I got to the point where guys are like, "Do you need me to show up tonight?" You're like, "No, you're good. You're good. I got this." You know what I mean? So I wouldn't, you know, they would sit there, and in some cases I had guys that I was paying that would sit there and they'd be just reading a book or something like that, and I'd be doing all the engineering. So I'd be paying them by the hour to sit in my studio or a studio or whatever studio that I was in, and I'd be doing all the work, turning into Steve Vai, Prince. You know what I mean? That was my thing. You know,
Right.
And so, you know, that being said, I didn't know everything, and when I had a question or I didn't understand how to do something, that's when I would tap them on the shoulder, okay, coming back in the fold, help me with this. How do you do this? Or how can I do this? You know?
Right.
And in every song, if you listen to full on, again, I did this on every single record. I'll always continue to do this. On every single song sounds different, not only in the way that it was written and played, but the sounds. What I would do was literally, after I finished one song, I would tear and strip down everything, the entire recording set. Okay, and then go, okay, well, this song should sound like this, and we'd place whatever mics we needed, whatever instruments we needed, whatever amplifiers we needed, whatever guitars fit those parts. So I strip it down. Versus some guys, which I won't mention because there's some phenomenal guitar players out there, but some guys will use the same amp and the same guitar for every single song in the record, and it sounds that way.
Right.
Yeah.
I listened to Nuno Betancourt's Schizophonic CD. Nuno recorded that. Again, another really good friend. Nuno recorded that. Nuno Betancourt from Extreme recorded that record while he was touring with Extreme, and he would go to different studios and literally record these songs in different studios while they were on tour. And in some cases, I know that he was mixing on the monitor boards at some of the gigs. Mixing the
no
tunes.
kidding.
I mean, and that's what I call getting shit done. Okay.
Yeah, right.
When you're on the monitor board and you've got a couple speakers and you're mixing your record or mixing a song, okay?
Yeah,
so,
that's
again,
crazy.
Every song on that record and just about all of Nuno's subsequent records that he's put out ever since then, all the songs sound different. And we grew up in the same age of like Led Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff where, again, where none of the songs sound the same. They don't sound homogenized, so to speak.
Right. Wow. I'm still got this. I just have this image of Nuno Betancourt mixing a song on the freaking monitor board. It's just kind of funny to me. It's just crazy, but that's commitment.
He'd be sitting there, or before sound check, whatever. He'd be sitting there mixing. So that's the case. Yeah. Like I said, I've known Nuno for 30 years. How's that for you?
Yeah. See, you're dating yourself now. You're dating us all.
Right? We both are.
We all know.
Nuno.
We all know you didn't meet him when you were 3.
Oh, I sure did. I sure did, man.
Did you have a question, Linda, you were going to ask?
Well, I was just going to, I was going to ask Toshi where...
Yeah, I was wondering if Linda was still even there, because we haven't heard from her.
I know. Well, you and I have this...
I'm going shopping.
Yeah,
it could
you and I have this problem, and here's the problem with talking to you, is I could sit and talk about this for hours about the music business, and you and I have done it before. We've had long conversations about it, and although I did learn some new things today about you that I didn't know. But what were you going to ask, Linda?
Well, I was just going to say, Toshi, where can people buy full-ons?
Oh, that's a good one.
The number one place right now is cdbaby.com, which is only available for download because I refuse to actually manufacture any more CDs.
Yeah.
I don't believe in manufacturing that of CDs because people are going to download and put it in their iPhones and their iPods and whatever else, and it's like you're paying for that stuff. And putting out CDs to me, I mean, I understand some people buy them, but I think the thing with kids these days, really, when I speak to them, is that of downloading and stuff.
Sure.
It's all about the download. And if you're doing it yourself, like I do, you're going to have to pay for the booklet. You're going to have to pay for Gen case. All that money costs that much more when you're not going to, unless somebody really, really wants it, And I've done that thing before where a questionnaire I put out years ago on Facebook. And I said, would you rather have a download card or would you rather have a CD? And it was an interesting observation and survey because of the fact that when everybody commented, I literally, for like hours, went to everybody's page and looked at them. And it was always the older people that liked the CDs, and the younger people were like a download card.
Well, see, my son got me a turntable and some records because we were talking one day. This is a couple years ago for Christmas. And, I love the records. I still, when I open up I got an Eric Clapton record. And it's kind of funny because a lot of this vinyl now, they record at the higher speed. It's recorded at 78. Or you play it back at 78 instead of 33. So really, it's a very short album when you really listen to it. It's like 12 minutes aside, 15 minutes aside. But going through the whole, like we said in the beginning, man, opening that up, looking at the pictures, the smell of the paper and the cardboard.
I didn't realize that about that recording. I knew vinyl's coming back. I mean,
I don't know if everybody's doing it.
Record speeds were like that, so.
I don't know if everybody's doing it. The reason they say they do it is the quality of the recording is better, at the higher speed, which makes sense if you look at it from a standpoint of some digital technology, digital tape technology. I don't know if it's all true, and I haven't really dove into doing the homework on it. But
yeah, I'm not sure if I agree in that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know
then
either.
Again, I'm not, what do you call it, an audiophile, So,
Right.
But I do know that the difference between like CDs and records and sounds, the CDs are samples. They're bits. They're samples
Right.
bits.
Right.
So it's like something coming down, like a jackhammer coming down, giving you bits of music. Unlike a CD where the needle never leaves the record.
Right,
You hear
right.
everything.
And there's just something about that needle making that noise on vinyl. I just love it. And,
Oh, yeah.
in our little studio here where we do the radio show from, I can sit in here and just listen to music while I'm farting around on the computer on the turntable. The only thing that's a drag is you got to get up every 14 minutes and turn the record over.
Well, yeah, but I don't mind that. Or get a chair next to the record,
Right.
record player. You know what I mean? I still have all my vinyl. I've got a huge vinyl collection, and I have all of it still to this day. And it's definitely coming back. I mean, I have a vinyl collection that's probably worth I'd say tens and thousands of dollars easily. But like a lot of bands, a lot of the newer bands, I noticed, like for example, like Hinder, who are great friends of mine. Hinder, when I saw them last, they had vinyl on their last record at the merch booth. So they had CDs, I believe, too. But I noticed they told me they were selling more vinyl than CDs. But I think it's turned into a novelty thing. The
Right.
problem with vinyl in the stores now is that for the same record that we would buy, like it's $7.99 or $8.99 or $10 or whatever back in the day, are now selling for $40 and $50, $60.
Right. Oh, they are. And I wish I would have kept my vinyl and never sold them to those stores that, back in the day when I was going to CDs and I said, what am I ever going to do with these? This new technology's out. I want to shoot myself now.
Right. Now, I kept my stuff, man. I kept my stuff. As a matter of fact, I even had some bands even autograph these things, too, as well. I've got autographed actual vinyl records. Like Steve Vai has actually autographed my Flexible record, for example.
Wow. That's pretty cool. You know what I want to do, Toshi, here, because we're running low on time. I got some things I got to get to, but I want to play one of my favorite songs off this record, and that's Predator. I was playing it earlier today, and that song just rocks. So I'm going to play that, and we'll come back to you after this song is over.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, hang in there.
All right.
Oh, God, I love this song. Let's rock it up.
Yeah.
is Chicago violinist Rachel Barton, classical musician and rock musician with the string group Stringendo. This is the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem. And Darren, you are the biggest pain in the neck. You are annoying me so much. You know what? We love you anyway.
Oh, man. God, I love that song, Toshi.
Thank you.
That song, there's a couple of songs that stick with me my whole life, and one of them is that song that when I was a kid, we used to go roller skating. I don't know if you ever went roller skating, but we would go roller skate. Yeah, and they'd play like Stranglehold or 157 Riverside Avenue by REO Speedwagon, and you'd skate real fast. I was talking about this last week. Yeah. It's because it's so dorky, but it's kind of how when you skated fast, you'd get the chicks to see you and stuff, It was just so dumb, but this is a song like that for my adulthood. This is a song that I put on and go, oh, God, I can clean house, I can do whatever. I got to get my ass-kicking songs. And by the way, you don't know how to play guitar. You have no idea what you're doing in that song. What are you? that was terrible. I think I heard a minor seventh that went out of tune there. You were going really fast. You probably wouldn't notice it. I have a very well-trained ear.
Right on.
No, that's
I never said I was great, though.
Oh, no, that's just...
I'm doing my thing.
Like hummingbird fingers. They're so fast.
Yeah, it's
like hummingbird wing fingers.
I remember watching you one time. God, I don't remember where it was. I don't think it was in a live setting. I can't remember where it was, but man, I sat there and watched you play that guitar and went, I'm selling my shit, man. What am I doing? How do you move your fingers like that? It was just crazy. So it's always fun.
I think the craziest thing that I ever had happen like that was I got up on stage with a band one time, and I didn't have a guitar, and I played the guitar player's guitar. And after I got done playing, he just looked at it and then he threw it against the wall and broke it.
Are you serious?
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, dude, why did you do that? He's like, because man, I'll never be that good. And
Oh.
I'm like, dude, this is the wrong way to sing, bro.
Yeah.
I ended up giving him one of my guitars later on because I felt so bad.
So now, oh no, hold on. Linda's got a question. She's going to talk. She didn't go shopping.
Well, I'm just curious because, Toshi, you went to Berkeley, and obviously you're a master shredder. But at Berkeley, you, I'm sure, studied classical a little bit and other genres.
Oh, well, yeah.
Do you play any
but
of it?
I studied classical and jazz before I went to Berkeley, as a matter of fact. I mean, I at one point in time, before going to Berkeley, College of Music in Boston, not the one in California, I was literally studying classical. At the same time, I had taken lessons from three different teachers from classical, rock, and jazz. So that's pretty much how I got into Berkeley. Was because I sent them my demo. They were like, "Oh, this kid can play a lot of things." I wasn't just playing, one genre. I was playing multiple genres. So I don't so much play classical anymore. So my technique isn't there. But cause at Berkeley, once you got to Berkeley, it was kind of like schoolwork just took over. But I still love classical guitar. I still love classical music, as a matter of fact. So
I just wondered if you ever, pick up a guitar and play some of that
classical
to add a little diversity to your day.
Stuff, but I don't, like I said, I don't play any classical stuff anymore because my technique.
Yeah,
I'd have to refresh that. It would take weeks for me to do that. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's a little different than what you're playing now.
A little bit.
Especially after having carpal tunnel surgery and all that kind of stuff too. So because you're finger picking, and that's I'm still recovering from that. I'm doing good, but with that carpal tunnel surgery, it involves you playing with 4 fingers, and in some cases even 5 if you want to include your pinky, but really all 4 fingers, including your thumb, with classical. And that's since I had carpal tunnel surgery done on my right hand, that's a little, that's a lot different than holding a guitar pick and playing back and forth, with alternate picking. So.
Hey, also, I want to anybody who's listening here, we're going to run the show long today since we got Toshi on, so we're going to get to these other things. We're going to get to the local artists. I got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about that. So don't go anywhere. Stick around. Don't forget to like and share our page. Tell your friends if you think this is something that you can enjoy. The rebroadcast goes forever, so you can always come back to this and listen to parts of what Toshi had said. If you wanted to, refresh your memory, listen to the whole interview, listen to the whole show. You can do it on your way to work on your phone. But we are...
Or fall asleep to it.
Or fall asleep. Or you can fall asleep to it. You can fall asleep to me anytime. People do that all the time as soon as I start talking. Now, here, listen, I got a couple more questions for you. One is...
Sure.
And this is totally a guitar guy to a guitar guy. I noticed this was a couple months ago. You put up some pictures of all these pedals when you were farting around with your pedal board for some shit you were doing. How many, if you were to guesstimate, and I'm talking between storage, Chicago, and how many pedals? Because you get a lot of this stuff sent to you to try out, right?
Yeah. A lot of it I do, and a lot of it's vintage stuff that I find like in pawn shops and everything or whatever, and I'll buy them. So not everything's like given to me. Everybody thinks a lot of people think I get stuff for free, and it's like I've never gotten anything for free. I've worked my ass to get it.
Right.
You know, I worked my ass off to get it because a lot of somebody had commented on something. I forgot what it was exactly. He said something about, well, you get it for free or whatever, and I'm like, dude, I paid my dues by sitting in my room practicing my ass off, okay? When you were out there, screwing around and going on dates or whatever and all that kind of stuff and screwing around with your friends, I stayed at home and practiced.
Right.
I didn't have a life, at one point in time, I was practicing 15 hours a day. I did that for about a year, I was anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a day. It was 12 hours on the days I had lessons, and the days I didn't have lessons, I practiced with 15. So... it's just that simple. I mean, like I said, I've gotten nothing for free. I've paid my dues and earned it. So, but regarding your question, yeah, I've got a lot of pedals. I don't know. I'd say hundreds, maybe over 1,000 pedals.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I say one day I'm coming down to Nashville. We gotta just go play around, and you know how like sometimes in rap videos they throw up money and it rains down on them. We should do that with pedals.
Ooh, that would hurt.
With pedals? With pedals?
We'll wear helmets. We'll wear helmets.
I was about to say you're going to kill somebody, man.
No, that was pretty cool because I had I think I actually had sent you some pictures of maybe I did. It might have been somebody else, but of my pedal rig that I set up for the new depth stuff we're doing. And then it was like a week later, you had boxes of pedals out. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, how are you going to make a decision? There's too much there.
I try to, combine things that I want to use. The companies that I endorse, are Digitech pedals, who I love. I use Morley volume and wah pedals. I do like a lot of Dunlop stuff as well. Although technically I'm not endorsed for their pedals, they do send me stuff to check out and evaluate, What else? Trying to think here. And of course, Eventide. Eventide as well, using the H9 pedal, for the harmonizing thing.
Right.
So, and other things as well. So I've been very blessed to have some really great, companies behind me that support me. And I consider all these people not just companies that I work with, but in many cases, great friends that I've known for years. Like I said, with Morley, it's, that's a 27-year-old relationship right there. So,
right.
That's pretty remarkable.
28.
Yeah, that really is remarkable that you've had an endorsement with the same company for that long. I remember ads in the paper with you with your Morley pedals. So,
Yeah, they still run that stuff, as a matter of fact, and I recently left my guitar company earlier this summer just because of the fact that I decided, before I did this leg of a tour this past summer, I decided I'm going to play whatever I want to play.
Right.
And so I brought out multiple guitars. I ended up using like 2 or 3 guitars in the entire tour. But I brought out multiple guitars because I'm still looking for a guitar company that can make a guitar that does everything that I want it to do. Steve Vai, back in the day, which is kind of like what I would like to do, but I don't have Steve Vai's name, and I didn't join Whitesnake. But Steve, or David Lee Roth's band before that. Steve Vai, if you look at all the old pictures of Steve Vai playing like in David Lee Roth's band, he had put together guitars, like performance guitars, that were ideally what he wanted to play, which ended up turning into the Gen guitar, okay?
Right.
Which was the guitar that did everything that he wanted it to do. So I've got things that I have in mind when I go with a guitar company, and it's been like this for quite some time. The last guitar company that I was with, like I said before, the guitar I was playing did not have a tremolo on there. I grew up listening to people like Steve Vai, Brad Gillis, Yngwie Malmsteen, guys that use tremolo systems, you know what I mean? Adrian Ballou from King Crimson. And for the longest time, I thought this company would come out with a 7-string guitar with a trem, and they didn't, and I left. Because I'm like, this guitar is not fulfilling everything that I need. And I want to get back into using my whammy pedal, you know what I mean? Or my whammy bar, I should say.
Right.
And so I wanted to get back into doing all this stuff. And, you know, I decided, okay, screw it, man. So I took out some guitars with me, and on that last run that I did with this band, and like I said, it was one of those kind of things where I just decided recently, I'm not looking for a guitar endorsement right now. If something comes about, great, but otherwise, I'm playing whatever I want to play. And working on this new record, again, rather than just using one instrument or even lying to people and telling them, hey, I use one instrument on the record. No, you're going to hear some dive bombs on the record. You're going to hear some you know, you're going to hear some squeals, you know, from false harmonics being pulled back like Dimebag Darrell. And you're going to know that I did not use that particular guitar that has no tremolo on it. You know what I mean? So rather than that, I'm just going to go, for each song, for every single song, I'm probably using a different guitar. You know, that's all there is to it. So that's the way it's going to roll, you know what I mean? And the amp companies, it's almost the same thing. It's kind of like, well, this is really cool, but, you know, I've got amps that I love that I would never take on the road with me because I think they're fragile, you know? You know, and I don't want to keep them in the studio because, and they're like custom-made amplifiers that sound phenomenal. But you're like, if this were to get stolen or if it were to break, you know, it would really suck because you'd have a hard time replacing it.
Right.
Like a Dumble amplifier, for example. Dumble amplifiers are really hard to come by, and they're really expensive. And you would never want to take a Dumble on the road with you unless you had security around you and you had, you know, a big entourage of people and we're doing a big tour where somebody can keep an eye on stuff. But you would never want to do like a bar tour bringing out a Dumble amplifier and having the risk of that thing getting stolen or whatever, you know. So you want something that can be easily replaceable, but at the same time that sounds good, which in some cases is really hard to find.
Well, tone is something most of my life playing guitar I struggled with up until recently, and I got real fussy about buying nicer gear when it came to my amps, rather than trying to find the sound that I might be looking for through a pedal. You know, nothing replaces a nice amp. So
that, and like I said, tone is subjective to the song.
Sure.
Really, it has to cater to the song. So what one amp or guitar might work for one song wouldn't work for another song. You know, the one consistency that I do find though is that is the one immediate link that links everything together is your cable. And I endorse Intex cables. I actually have a signature line of Intex cables, and they're phenomenal cables. They're great. And they maintain that tone, and they have a lifetime warranty on them. And I got three signature cables: the Ninja, the Kamikaze, and the Samurai. And they are phenomenal cables. You know, but a lot of times people forget, like, you know, you can't buy a $5,000 guitar and then have like a $2,500 amp, and you're using a $10 or $15 cable from whatever music chain store. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to get a good cable in between there too to connect that tone. And a lot of guys don't understand that. When I did artist relations for Spectraflex cables, which is also a great cable as well, I use them still to this day in my speaker cables. You know, I realized a lot of musicians, out of all the musicians I met when I was doing artist relations for Spectraflex for many years, a lot of guys don't understand the importance of cables. You know, and I signed like many people to Spectraflex cables. Everybody from literally Flyleaf, who I have a platinum record from with my name on it, which will be probably the only platinum record I'll ever see with my actual name on a RIAA certified platinum record, because they're not issuing them anymore because nobody's selling platinum.
Right.
But I have a platinum record from Flyleaf to Black Sun Cherry to Saliva, all guys that I got cable deals with and whatnot, and introduced them to, hey man, you know, you got some great gear, but the cables are weak in your link, you know, so that's the weak link in the chain, no pun intended, and we replace the cables.
Wow, that's interesting. So now basically what you're saying is I got to go out and buy a whole bunch of new Toshi cables.
You don't have to, but it would be nice.
How do you feel about that, Linda? I got to go buy. I saw his cables online. I actually did look into them, you know, but anything, they're not cheap. a good cable's not cheap. Even a good speaker wire for your stereo system isn't cheap. So, you know.
Well, you know what? I'd rather play with a less expensive guitar and connected to a great cable that's going to give you clear tone and consistent tone and a nice spread as far as the frequency goes.
Gotcha.
Because, like I said before, you don't want to sound like it's squished or minimum volume, but you know you can play good on a crappy guitar, you know, and just replace the brains if you wanted to, replace the pickups. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, there's all kinds of things. But getting back to my point here is that and speaking of pickups, I endorse the Marzio pickups and have been since 1991. So again, another long relationship there. So you know, it's one of those kind of things where it's really about the player. At the end of the day, it's about the player, because when Eddie Van Halen picks up a guitar, it's going to sound like Eddie Van Halen no matter what guitar he's playing on.
Right.
You know, and I realized that later in the game, that it's not about, like, and with no offense to any of the companies that I work with, but it's not about the gear. It's about the guy that's using the gear, you know, because the really great players are always going to sound really great no matter what they're playing through.
Right.
And it's just that simple. It's like, here's the way that I put it, okay? It's like the player is the cake, the gear is the icing, okay? You can put icing on top of dog shit. Sooner or later, you're going to bite into the dog shit. In other words, if the guy can't play, you're going to notice sooner or later, no matter how expensive the gear is that he has.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You got to have the good cake. You can have a good cake without any frosting whatsoever on the cake, and it's still going to be a great cake. It's still going to be a nice cake.
Look at that
The
metaphor.
frosting just adds the sweetness to it.
Hey, did you just use a baking metaphor on this show?
did.
You just
I sure did.
Now, right there, that's news. Right there. All this terrible thing. Okay, here I'm going to say his last name wrong again, and I've known the guy forever. Iseda. Toshi Iseda used a baking metaphor when explaining guitars. Tone.
Well, you know, I try to break things down, Dad, where a lot of people look at you, and you can tell, like, by looking in their eyes, they don't really get what you're saying, and I try to break things down to, oh, okay, I understand now, you know, and that's the way it works. You've got to kind of, like, break it down to somebody that would understand, because you can get in all technical terms, and you'll be, like, above their head. You know, but you break it down in layman's terms, and they go, "Oh, I get it now. I get it." Yeah, you know, that's the deal.
My whole life has to be dumbed down to me. You kidding? Linda still writes notes in crayon for me. So,
well, I wouldn't say it's dumbing it down. I'm just putting it in layman's terms so they get it a little bit more efficiently.
Gotcha.
That's all. You know what I mean?
All right, fair enough. I won't say dumb it down anymore.
Yeah,
hey,
there's nothing dumb about it. It's just like look at it like this, and when you look at it like this, in a different direction or a different picture, they go, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, sometimes it helps people get it. I get it. Go ahead, Linda.
So I just wanted to go back to Toshi appearing at Biketoberfest in Daytona, October 19th through 22nd, and I'm just wondering, Toshi, have you ever been to an event kind of like that, a biker event?
No, that's why I'm so excited about it. I'm nervous at the same time, and I don't usually get nervous because I hear it's nothing but a huge party, which is awesome. But I'll be playing, and like I said, in the back of a Dodge Ram truck.
Well, you'll
and we'll be playing it at the Harley Davidson dealership, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
It'll be interesting because this is one thing that I've never done before, and so getting up in the back of a bit of a truck and jamming out, you know, with my tunes. Yeah, I've never done that before, so it's going to be kind of interesting. And it should be fun. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
That's going to be awesome.
I think you're going to fit in. I mean, you've got all the tats, and you're pretty badass. And you know, I think you like leather stuff. Although it's
pretty badass. I like you are badass.
You're pretty badass.
Right, you're badass.
Was she not sounding like your mom all of a sudden? It's like, you know, you're a fine young man, and I think you'll do swell.
It's because I really know you.
That's more like it. That's what I like to hear.
Jesus, right. Linda.
Jeez. I think that you'll really love it, though. I mean,
you will have a blast.
And they are.
Well, I think so too. I don't think the tats have anything to do with it because having tats is just as much as biker stuff as it is rock and roll.
Well, that's what I mean.
As a matter of fact, I think more rock and rollers that have tats than bikers.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to do another impersonation, Linda. you with all those drawings on your skin, like some of those other guys and their beards, you'll all get along. You'll be fine. Play some bridge. Jesus, poor girl.
But here's the thing: I don't ride. So I used to ride, but I don't ride anymore. So I don't even have a bike. So I mean, it is, which is kind of funny that I don't ride anymore. But now I'm playing Oktoberfest. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to, that whole idea. I think Dodge kind of got. GMC had done some commercials on TV where there was just somebody out of the back of like a terrain jamming, and they did a couple funny commercials with a really good. What's that? Orienthal, the chick guitar player who's badass. She played with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I just posted
I can't pronounce her name either. She's from Australia, I believe.
Yeah, or Orienthal or something like that. Anyway.
Orienthal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She plays, and then somebody tries to pick up the guitar and do the same thing. But that whole thing about playing out of the back of the car was a commercial spot they did, and I think it's awesome that they're going to throw you on the back of a pickup truck and you're going to go freaking ballistic 4 times a day.
Yeah, I never even saw that commercial, so I'd be interested in I should maybe search that on YouTube for that, so I don't do anything that she does already.
Yeah,
that she did a video. So,
well, that's a 30-second spot. It wouldn't matter, but it's a cool idea, But
yeah. Well, like I said, I've got so many things that I'm working on right now that it's just super, super busy point of time in my life. Between doing that and getting ready for that, like I said, I'm still recovering from this carpal tunnel surgery, which really should have been better, but I went ahead and this tour earlier this year, and I did it 2 weeks after this leg of a tour. I did it 2 weeks after they took the stitches out of my hand and my elbow, and both the my general practitioner and my specialist both said, take the month of July and August off, Coach. And I said, all right, guys, I'm going on tour in 2 weeks. And that's what I did. So I kind of prolonged the healing of the process. So, yeah, I'm still working with that a little bit. But, at the same time, I'm working on the new record on top of it. And so that's taking up some time. And now that people have seen me on that last, little leg of a run that I did of a tour, I'm getting offers from many other bands, but this time I'm going to do it the right way and make sure that it's the right offer and it's the right click. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty critically important when you got to get out there and you got to be gone. You got bills to pay and you got your shit's got to be taken care of while you're gone. Yeah. So
right. Well, that and like I said, I want to make sure that that the time frame is everything. Like between now and Oktoberfest, I can't do anything. So whatever, as far as going out with a band, that's gonna have to wait until after that. Now my recordings I can do them sporadically, whenever I get around to it. Because like I said, I'm not gonna put out a CD. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put out individual songs. I talked to Mark Tremonti about this in depth as well. Because I've decided that instead of putting out a CD and giving people the option to buy songs, and pick them out. Put out one song at a time, and don't let anybody know when your next song is going to be coming out, whether it be next week, next month, 2 months.
That's kind of cool. That's an interesting idea.
Here's something, and here you go. And they'll be hopefully more inclined to respectfully and legally purchase that item at 99 cents rather than going, okay, well, instead of buying the whole record, let's just pick and choose maybe 2 or 3 songs or one song. If you only give them a little bit at a time, if they're hungry, they'll eat that one little bit.
Right. Yep. Yeah, maybe it's a way to go back. That's a great idea. A way to go back to selling a full album's worth of music. Say, I'm putting out a new record, one song at a time. Give them a little dose, and they just, every week they buy or whatever, however long it takes. It could take a year. Who cares? But you sold the whole album.
Exactly. And like I said before, the cost of, and since I'm going to be doing this myself, I've gotten label offers. But like I said, I'm not going to sign on to a label. That's all there is to it. Unless it's some kind of a really, really, really great deal, I would not sign to a label. Because let's face it, a label is essentially nothing but a financial institution, which you'd be better off literally taking a bank loan and doing it yourself. I discovered that back in 1996. Okay, because some of the deals that I'd gotten back then were just stupid deals. And it's dude, so I owe you how much APR in this?
Right.
This 46%,
Right.
36%. I said, I can go take a bank loan out for the same amount of money and now have this kind of APR. Are you kidding me? And that's exactly what I did. I literally did full on and built a studio on credit cards, and that was it. And then eventually paid them all off, But, these days, like I said, it's one of those kind of things where a label is essentially a financial institution, but they don't have the money these days like they had back in the day, like they had in the 90s or the 80s. Nobody has that kind of money. So really, if you sign onto a label, they're not really going to do much for you because there's no money there for them, really. There's no distribution, really to put the CD except for places that you can put yourself, and there's no real marketing on there because of the fact that you see magazines getting smaller and smaller and smaller to virtually non-existent. And I've seen comic books now that are thicker than some of the entertainment magazines that I've seen in the past that were thick magazines back in the day, back in the 90s. Now you see these comic books literally thicker than, some of these magazines.
Look at Rolling Stone magazine. That magazine is puny now, and it's the size of a regular magazine, and it's $6. That's the only way they can justify staying open, I'm sure.
Right, exactly. And see, I don't even get Rolling Stone magazine, so I haven't seen a Rolling Stone magazine literally in years. So it was never my kind of read to begin with, to be honest with you. But and the demographic where I live, the area where I live, which is outside of Nashville, right now I'm thinking my summer house, even though it's turning into fall, or it's turning into fall, I'm still in my summer house. And where I live, all the, for example, places you can buy a magazine, which is primarily just Walmart. None of them carry like Guitar World magazine or Guitar Player magazine, which is really sad because I love those guitar magazines and they are a source of inspiration for me, but I can't find them anywhere.
Right.
So and everybody goes, why don't you get a subscription? Well, I had a subscription for 2 years to one of those magazines, which I won't say, but the magazine, and you could tell, because I used to collect them, and those 2 years for this magazine, I would get them and the covers would be ripped or something would be torn or something, and you could tell in those 2 years, the 2 years I subscribed, because those were the only ones that weren't in pristine condition on the bookshelf.
Right.
Seriously. I mean, you can tell. So I stopped doing that, but I may have to resort to doing that again because, like I said, I do miss having that source of inspiration from the guitar magazines.
It's nice to have something. I like reading the newspaper, and I like reading magazines. I like to read, too. It's not always, it's so canned over the internet, and it's so much shit is just abbreviated, so to speak. So you don't really get the full gist of everything that's really going on. But
right, exactly. And at one point, speaking of that, I actually started an internet magazine that was like, it just became such a pain in the ass to deal with that I stopped it. It was called Intense Guitar, and we had Mark Tremonti on the cover, and I actually gave Mark a giant poster of the cover, which he then went and framed, and it's in his house now. But I actually was starting an online guitar magazine, and it just became such a pain in the ass to deal with. And once again, I reverted back to that of, well, I'm not an editor of a magazine, man. I don't do this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
that's a lot of work.
So, let's get back to playing guitar.
It's a lot of work, man, doing the magazine. When we had it, I mean, it was just brutal. And it's an expensive thing to put out. But it's, online, even though you're not printing a magazine, the amount of work that goes into making one that's viable that anybody gives a shit about is a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
And when you guys had your magazine, though, it was hard copy stuff. You had distribution to deal with and all that. And, there's so much to do. I mean, versus the online stuff, it's just simply online. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just toss it up, and you can put things up as you see, as you feel, and take things down as you feel. But in a hard copy, once you put whatever that's out in the hard copy, you can't just subtract something off of the site or just add something to that or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you make a mistake in something online, you can fix it online. But once you put it out there like a typo in a hard copy, you can't fix it. If it's a typo, you have to go back to the next issue and say, "Hey, sorry about this typo in this."
Yep. Yep. Well, listen, Tosh, we got. I want to play one more song here, and that's how we're gonna roll out of this segment here, so we can get to the last half of the show, or the last half hour of the show. This has been an amazing interview, and it's always awesome talking to you. And when you come up to Chicago, I absolutely want to have you here live with us. Maybe we could play some guitar. We can do. Well, the nice thing is we can do whatever we want. You can't bump a show on terrestrial radio. You can't even bump a show on Sirius and say I'm going to run an extra hour. But we can do that here at the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem, which is fun. And this is some of the stuff we're going to see which works for it. So we're going to send you off. What's your favorite song on the Full On album?
Oh, geez, so I mean everything. They're all my babies, you know. I mean that's all that's to it. I mean, I'd say production-wise, I think Affair with a Stranger.
Look at what
What?
I'm clicked on Affair with a Stranger. In my head, I'm going, I bet he's going to pick Affair with a Stranger, and that's what you picked.
You know why? Because I think that was like the last song I actually recorded. It's got Mike Trana from Tony McAlpine and Ingrid Malmsteen guy on drums. So it's got him on drums. And then it's also got Michelangelo Badio as a guest on there too.
Oh no shit!
I think it's the best recorded song because by that time I pretty much knew what I was doing in the studio. So that's as far as I'm concerned, the best produced song on the record. It came out exactly the way I had it in my head, and so I like that song very much. Like I said, it's one of those kind of things where even some of Michelangelo Badio's fans have said that his guitar playing in that song is their favorite guitar playing of his. And with no offense to Mike, because he's a great guy, I love him to death. But, you know, we did another song on the CD called High Noon, where I wanted to, you know, sit there and go, okay, who's the fastest guitar player I know? I want to, like, have, like, a gunslinger fucking, you know, gunfight at the OK Corral kind of deal. Just, like, just shred, you know what I mean? Just a total shred. And so we did High Noon together. And that's what it is. It's a shred song, man. We shred out. That's all there's to it. But once I was done, I was about halfway into the recording of the entire record. And once I did that song, I felt, okay, I don't need to play fast anymore in the rest of the record. I feel like I've been vindicated and said, yeah, I can shred.
There you go. Yeah. Now you can do whatever else you want. You've proven the point.
Exactly. And so when Mike had come back, because I had actually asked Richie Cotton to play on the record, and Richie wanted to play in the record as well. He's also a really great friend I've known for 28 years, but I love him to death too. And Richie, when I asked Richie, said he would do it, but in the interim during that time, he had gotten signed to Geffen Records, and I talked to John Kolodner over at Geffen Records, who would not let me use Richie on the record. So
really?
Richie was like, you know, I mean, when the person, because at the time when I initially asked him to play my record, he wasn't signed, and so in the interim, since it took a little bit of time to get everything together and to write the song and blah blah blah, by that time he had gotten signed to Geffen Records, and John Kolodner was his I think it was his A&R guy, but John said basically, no, Richie can't play your record, and so I had a song with nobody else to play, and I'm like, shit. And Richie was like, man, I'd really love to play, but, you know, that's why when you see something on a record and see so-and-so courtesy of whatever record label, you know,
right.
You know, that they gave you permission in writing to have this person guest on a record. You just can't have somebody, essentially once you sign your John Hancock on a contract, you're essentially owned by them, okay?
Right.
You just can't go and...
It's kind of like the military. It's like the military, but different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just... You know, Richie and I both knew that he couldn't just play on the record and have me promote him like that. So that's when I asked my old buddy Michelangelo Badio, who had his own record label, didn't have to, you know, cater to anybody to come back and do another song. I mean, just like Steve Vai did. Steve Vai was back in 1990. And he did a song on Guitar for the Practicing Musicians CD. And his name on the CD, because he couldn't use Steve Vai because he was signed to one of the labels. I think at the time he was in Whitesnake, so I believe, I don't remember what label that was. I think it was Geffen, actually. But he went under the moniker of Reckless Fable, was the name on that Guitar for the Practicing Musicians CD. So he didn't use the name Steve Vai, but used Reckless Fable, so he was able to get around it. And because of that, when you heard the song, everybody knows it's Steve Vai.
Right.
So like, either this is, I remember being at Berkeley going, either this is a really, really, really good Steve Vai impersonator or it's Steve Vai.
Or it's Steve Vai,
like,
yeah.
It's Steve Vai. That's got to be Steve Vai.
That's
no
funny.
Reckless Fable. It's Steve Vai. You know, so long story short, or longer as the case may be, because I know I got to go, Mike came back and started playing and started to shred, doing his thing, which is what he does. He's a phenomenal shredder, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped Mike and I said, Mike, listen, man, why don't we do something like a little bit different? You know, I mean, because we've already shredded out on the one song, so let's do something a little bit different, maybe a little bit more melodic, maybe, because the song is melodic. So let's do something a little bit more melodic. And we did. I kind of coached him through it. Not that Mike needed coaching. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to make it sound like I said, he's a phenomenal guitar player. But you know, I told him basically what I wanted to hear out of his guitar playing, and so it came out really great. And it's funny because, like I said before, a lot of his fans come up to me and they say their favorite Michelangelo Badio solo is the one off my song, "Affair with a Stranger." And it's so much so that Mike actually gave me a great quote saying, "I'm not only a great guitar player, but a great producer." He gave me this as a quote. I have it in writing from him. It's actually on my music page. The quote is on my music page from Mike.
Well, that's a nice compliment.
Tremendously humbled by for him to say not only that I was a great guitar player, but a great producer as well.
Yeah, paying credence to all that hard work we talked about earlier, learning, learning how to make a record.
I myself an engineer, but I mean, because there's guys that can sit there and go, dude, no, you don't know what you're doing. But I do call myself a producer because I know what I can hear and what I like and where things fit. And that's what happened, literally. And that's what I do here in Nashville. Even I produce bands, you know, as well. So it's one of those things where that was one of the things that I think probably my first, or one of my first production things where I just sat down and said, let's do this. Let's move this around and do this. And it came out really great.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, you know, this is a killer album for anybody who doesn't have it or hasn't heard of it. Get out there. Full on cdbaby.com, and you can download this whole album. It's outstanding. And Toshi,
wait till you hear the new record.
I can't wait. Well, you know,
that I have the new record.
We can certainly have you back on here anytime you want, and we can talk about anything we want to talk about. We'll talk about the new record as you get closer to it. You know, I'm coming down with one of my sons to Nashville to see my other son here real soon. And I don't know if you remember Tyler, who, when he was 4 years old, you bought him a fishing kit. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
He's the one who's in the military and lives in Clarksville, Tennessee, over there.
It's a military town. I know exactly.
Yeah, man.
They got a great club up there called the Warehouse.
He's a big boy now, so we're doing a father-son weekend, and we're going to come down, and one of the plans is to hang out with you. So get ready for that. I'll keep you posted when that's happening. We're going to play Affair with a Stranger, get back to our show. We love you, brother. Thanks so much for spending time with us. And
I love you and Linda, too. You guys are awesome.
Love you,
Thank you so much.
And we'll talk to you, and as soon as the show is over and the video's posted, you can share it with everybody. This is a great interview, man.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I love you, Linda. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take it easy, Tosh.
Have fun at Bike Week.
Yeah, have fun at Bike Week. And this
I'll
is
keep you updated.
You
I'll
get
post some stuff on Facebook, so keep that in mind.
You got it. And this is Affair with a Stranger by Toshi. He's Zeta.
All right, see you guys later.
See ya.
Bye.
This is Jack Letourneau from Satellite Studios in Chicago. You're listening to the world-famous Darren and the Dag Nabit Show.
Wow. That was an awesome interview with Toshi. Are you going to turn on your mic? Oh.
Yeah, my mic is on.
Oh. It was longer than we had planned, but I got to tell you, I have a lot of fun talking with Toshi. He's an interesting guy. He's got a lot to say, and he's got a long history in the music business. And, not a lot of people can say that they've made their living. Toshi chose to make his living in the music industry, and there's one thing I know about Toshi, of all the things I know about Toshi, that is one that I admire the most about him, is this fucking guy's got drive. He stayed true to what he wanted to do and what he wanted to be, and he's worked his ass off. This album, full on, I have several copies of it, and Predator is one of the songs that I've always had in my phone, and I have it in my laptop because it's part of my rotation of songs that just get me going. But much like music is today, you forget to go through this album. And Affair with a Stranger, my God, I forgot what a great song that is.
It is.
That's an awesome tune. So anyway, we ran long here today on the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem today, or Mayhem show with Linda and me, yours truly,
Mostly
Dag.
you.
Mostly me.
Mostly you.
Well, don't ever think that you're not an important part of this element, and I know sometimes it helps to have somebody else in the studio here to either shut me up or offset my nonsense. But all in time. All right? So we've got 30 minutes we're going to do here. We decided to extend the show an hour. And
you decided to extend the show an hour.
I knew that was coming. I decided to extend the show an hour. Well, we really talked about the thing with Toshi. It was going to go like 30 minutes. And I knew when we started talking, I went in my head, me and Toshi are never going to be, we have way too much to say to each other, even though we just talked like 3 times in the last 24, 48 hours. We love talking about the music business. We both know a lot about the industry itself, and it's always a fun conversation for me. So, whatever. But there are important things going on here in Chicago, and one of the things the Dag Nabit Music Mayhem is about local music, and it's about discovering new music too. Now, since we're new, a lot of people don't know we're here yet. Like and share our page. Share it with your friends. If there's anything here you got, this is our sophomore show after 19 years since the last time we did radio together. And, there's bugs we're going to work out of it. Linda's not perfect. She can't be expected to be as perfect as me.
Oh.
So
why would I want to try?
Why would you want to put that kind of effort into things? But I'm really working on a lot of different guests coming into the studio as this grows. We can take this show on the road. We can do it in restaurants. We can do it in bars. We can do it, I got a lot of plans here and a lot of things in the work, but sometimes they just take a really long time to pull together logistically. Got to make sure that the right technology is available where we're taking the show. Having bands in here or on our new soundstage when it's done, it's really going to change this, and being able to see videos of the songs that we're playing instead of staring at us. There's a lot of technology going into this, but we're doing it kind of slow because, one, it's outrageously expensive, and number two, we want to make sure that you guys are going to enjoy it. But as that happens, that being said, talking about a lot of local music, and Toshi's a local Chicago artist and has been forever. That's why he was on the show today. There's other bands, and we all like to go out and see great bands, and one of the best bands in Chicago is Ara. And as far as doing cover music, they're just a great bunch of guys, and we're going to talk about other bands over the week. But my brother's in this band too, so I'm a little biased, But what I wanted to do was, one, Ara plays like crazy, and I didn't mean to do that. See, I'm still kind of learning here. I didn't mean to do that. But here's a song by Ara, so you get an idea if you go see Ara what you're getting. These guys are the real deal. So this is Blue Collar Man by Styx, performed by Ara.
Display, telling all you guys ready to rock. Woo! Give me a job, give me security, give me a chance to survive. I'm just a parcel, leave me unemployed and alive. My God, I'm hardly alive. Mother and father, wife and my friends, see them laughing in my face. But I've got the power, I've got the will. I'm not a charity case. I take those dark nights, impossible odds, keeping my eye in the keyhole. If it takes all that to be just who I am, well, I'm gonna be a blue collar man. Make me an offer that I can refuse. Make me a respectable man. This is my last time in the unemployment line. So lock it on tonight. I take those long nights, impossible odds, keeping my back to the wall. If it takes all that to be just who I am, well, I'm gonna be a blue collar man, keeping my mind on a better life, where happiness is only a heartbeat away. Paradise, can it be all I heard it was? I close my eyes, baby, I'm already there. I'll take those long nights, impossible odds, keeping my back to the wall. If it takes all that to be just who I am, well, I'm gonna be a blue collar man. Don't understand. I'll take those long nights, impossible odds, keeping my eye in the keyhole. If it takes all that to be just who I am, well, I'm gonna be a blue collar
Wow. That's Ara. And that's recorded live.
All right, here we go.
All right, see, that was the other one I was going to play. But their media player is weird, so the minute you touch it, it starts playing automatically. I didn't think that was going to happen. Anyway, so that's Ara. had my brother, the kid, on drums. But that's recorded live. That's the kind of band they are, man. They're that good. So, you know, if you're going out, you want to go see Ara play. I did pull up. Where is it? Under schedule. So this Saturday, ours is going to be October 14th at Bannerman's, which is over on 59 and Stearns Road in Bartlett. We went and saw Sonic 7 there. That's a really, really nice club. It's big. And then on the October 20th, they're at the Acorn Theater in Three Oaks, Michigan, which actually I'm going to that show. Our friend Kent Allen. You know, Kent Allen sent me a text today, and he asked me about Amanda's birthday party because I posted those pictures, and he goes, is that your oldest? And I go, yeah. He goes, that's the first baby I ever held. I was terrified. So that was kind of cute. So, but Kent has a place out in Michigan. That's right. You're going to be gone, and that's where I'm going. So he has a place out in Michigan over there on the lake, and he's letting the band stay there. Mike invited me to go with. And hopefully he told Ara, otherwise they might hear this now. But so that's at the Acorn Theater next weekend on the 20th. And then back here on the Friday, November 3rd, they are at the Cube at Rivers Casino in Des Plaines. So get out and see them guys. They're also going to be December 30th at Mike and Denise's in Aurora. That's right. So get out and see that band for sure. There's another band here I wanted to talk about real quick. Gone Country. This is Doug Schoenbeck's band. I don't know anybody else in the band, but Doug is a real super cool guy. And, you know, he's just a great guitar player and just a killer soul. He's just an absolute sweetheart. So that being said, if you like country music, these guys are a lot of fun. Good band to get out and see. And they are, where are we here on the calendar? So on the 14th, they're going to be at the Lodge on 64 in Wasco. And then Saturday, they're not out again until November 4th, but they'll be at Spears and Wheeling. So those are the next couple of shows. I'll post these things as I get this done today. Slowly this stuff will start to go up by tonight and tomorrow morning. The one thing I wanted to talk about is Andrew Blake's Monster Jam. Now, if you're in Chicago music at all, Andrew Blake he's got this really big band. He does a lot of corporate events and big weddings. You know, it's a big, huge band. Jenny King sings in this band. Anywho, he put together the coolest open mic night ever at the Neighborhood Inn, which is in, I believe that's Rolling Meadows. Let me find it on here real quick. But anyway, Neighborhood Inn. Oh, it's in Hoffman Estates. Let me open this up real quick. Anyway, so this open mic night is like no other open mic night. So what he does, so he puts out a list and says, okay, these are the songs, the theme. It could be like one night they did, I think it was Kiss, and then one. I think they theme the night once a month, and then but they send out a list of the different songs. So if you're a bass player, you sign your name in. I want to sing this song. And if you're a guitar player, you sign your name in, you want to sing this song. But he packs this fucking little bar in Hoffman Estates on Thursday nights with this, and it's just starting up again this October 26th. So not this coming weekend, but the next weekend, or the next week, the next Thursday, the following Thursday from this coming. And he packs it in, and all the greatest musicians go hang out there and drink beers, and he puts up these videos, and you go, well, I got to go to this thing because I haven't been there. But it's all you get. Like Mike, the kid, he goes and he hangs out there, and you never know if you're a musician who you're sitting in with. You know, so you can sit down, and some of these bands that are put together totally by accident with all these different musicians from other bands in Chicago get up and play these amazing songs. It's really amazing. People get up and sing. It's really, really cool. So, and I've only seen the videos. I haven't actually gone to the event. So I'm going to make sure on the 26th, that's where you'll find me. And go and check this out. But get out to Andrew Blake's Monster Jam, the ultimate open mic night. You can find them on Facebook. They start up August 26th. It's their Halloween party jam. and find out all the information if you're a musician and be a part of this. It's a lot of fun. A lot of great musicians go to this. You'd be shocked at what you'd be running into. So it's not only just a cool jam session, but it's a really neat place to network with other musicians. So, anywho, so that's exciting. And then, I wanted to make reference to a very good friend of ours, Bud Carlson in 60 Carat Rock. Now, if you like, they do music from the 50s to the 80s. They do a lot of oldies and stuff. But Bud sang with the Depp last year in December, and he filled in when we had an issue with a singer at the last minute that dropped out. Guy comes, bam, 25 tunes in just a couple of weeks of practice, a couple of rehearsals. It was absolutely unbelievable. But his band, 60 Carat Rock, is going to be out on the 13th Friday at Cooper's Corner, which is on Roosevelt Road in Winfield. And they play there quite a bit, so if you want kind of less of a rockin' evening, we got bands you can split it up with. So get out and see 60 Carat Rock. Great bunch of guys. Say hi to Bud. And Bud plays in that band with his son, Tony. Tony's a bass player in that band. So it's a cool father thing. Yeah, they ride Harleys together. They play rock and roll together. It's pretty cool. You got to turn your mic on if you want to be heard. No wonder I couldn't hear anything. I can't hear your head shake. You got to turn your mic on, dork. And then Friday, November 3rd, they're going to be at Manhattan's American Bar and Grill, and I think they play there pretty regularly too. So great band, a lot of fun, and get out and see them. So let's see here. I got another band, but I'm going to save. I want to do some talking about Whiskey Romance, but I'm going to save that till next week. And I thought we'd play one more song here. You want to hear one more song by Ara?
Sure.
All right, we'll try this again without me screwing this up. This is Separate Ways by Journey. Performed by Ara.
All right, here we go. Come on. We stand. It's
Wow. Well, there's my brother, drummer. What goes on the drums?
People could almost understand what you just said.
Whatever.
The very talented Mike Gallus. Yeah.
Yes, my bro. Drummer for the Depp. This is like it fucking matters at this point. Everybody's so goddamn busy we can't seem to get this together. Anyway, guys, I just want to say thanks so much for tuning in, for everybody that did, and all of you that will view this. Last week we had over 2,200 views on the show. 2,200 people came to experience the Dag Nabit Music first episode.
I wonder how many came back this week.
Maybe nine. Maybe 9 people came back. But I want to support, like, and share the page. Come out and see us on Sundays. I'll have a special guest with me this week because the Bishop will not be here. She will be in California, out by L.A.
Yeah.
So I will have some fill-ins here so we can really make them out. I'm having a brass pole installed and some really cool lighting. So you can only imagine what's going to go on without you here.
That'll give you a lot of viewers, yeah.
Oh, it will.
It'll help.
You have no idea.
Pole better be gone by the time I get back.
Anyway, we didn't get to a lot of stuff. Next week we're going to get to Leonid and Friends, Russian band that covers Chicago music. These guys, I've been putting them on the Darren Edwards Project page. Just off the chain. Really great guys. And I had a cool opportunity to just chat with them a little bit on Facebook. So next week we'll talk about that. I'll get to Miley Cyrus next week. If you got bands, if you're in a band, if you want me to feature you would like us to feature you on the show, send me good MP3s. You can send any press kits or songs or anything to thedag65@gmail.com. That's THEDAG65@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. Feel free to comment and post. Call me an asshole. Tell me Linda's beautiful. I don't care. Doesn't matter. But go ahead and let us know what you think. Please share and like the page. Share. That's how we get more listeners, and that's how this thing continues to grow and be more fun, and have more talent, being a part of what we're doing. We love you all. I'm going to sign out here with, what should we sign out with? I mean, we certainly should probably sign out with our theme music, right?
Oh.
Don't you think?
We could.
What? Why doesn't this shit
play another Toshi Azeda song?
Yeah.
We
will do that.
Since we had him on today.
Yeah. Let's.
So.
What? Oh, you know why this? You know, let's see. I got to redo this. I'm doing this in the computer because this is really a fucking pain in the ass. I'm going to do it a different way next week, which is going to require a lot more time, but it's going to be a hell of a lot easier. So that's what I was trying to do, is get this rolling for us. Anyway, we're happy to have been here for you. We are glad you all came out and gave us a listen. Let's see. What are we going to play from Toshi here to sign us off? How about High Noon?
Sounds like a good choice.
Yeah. We love you guys. Peace out. And here's High Noon by Toshi Azeda.
Azeda.
All right, here it is.
And you've got a link on our page, so.
All right.